Flotilla was warned about approaching an active combat zone, and the captured passengers will now be deported. 10 South Africans are among the group, including Mandla Mandela, Nelson Mandela's grandson. Activist Medicine Bannon says it's important for aid to reach the people of Gaza who are in desperate need.
We are calling on the South African government and President Cyril Ramaphosa to ensure the safety of our delegates, get them home as soon as possible, to ensure that the aid that they carried continues to Gaza and is not held illegally by Israel.
Joburg Metro Police say they're investigating a courier company for allegedly packaging material that used to wrap 21 million rand worth of drugs found in Linbro Park. 2 people were arrested on the M2 highway yesterday carrying 2 bales of marijuana. The suspects led police to a storage facility where a larger quantity of drugs was found neatly wrapped in plastic bags. Jabuli Lembata was there.
Joburg Metro Police say the packaging of the drugs show that those involved could be professionals. Most of the bales of marijuana were wrapped with a particular courier company's packaging material. Police are now investigating syndicates transporting drugs. Joburg Public Safety MMC Mgcini Chako.
So the JMPD TRU followed up a lead where the suspects were in a car and they followed them up, and they were coming into a storage here in this area, the Linbro Park, and they found the dacha that's probably worth the street value of about 21 million, because each bag is about 400,000, and you've got plus minus 50 bags that are here.
Chaku says police will conduct more drug busts to rid the city of these syndicates. Jabuli Limbata, Eyewitness News, Linbro Park.
3 City of Cape Town officials have been implicated in a tender fraud investigation related to a 1.6 billion rand construction contract. This follows a search and seizure operation at 26 addresses across Cape Town by the SAPS Commercial Crimes Unit on Wednesday. The raids were prompted by information from a whistleblower and investigations by both the City of Cape Town and the SAPS. Carlo Peterson has more.
Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis says information about alleged tender fraud related to a 1.6 billion rand construction contract was handed to the SAPS about a month ago. Hill-Lewis says the contract relates to a construction tender.
It is a construction tender that it involves a couple of directorates. It's mainly a road construction tender, but also related to our urban waste management directorate as well.
Hill-Lewis says 3 City of Cape Town officials have been implicated in the investigation.
There are apparently 3 of our city officials, varying from relatively junior to relatively senior officials allegedly involved in this collusion.
Police say the investigation is ongoing and investigators are not prepared to share any more information at this stage. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And anti-government protests are escalating in Morocco as people continue to call for the kingdom's government to step down. Days of unrest have seen at least 3 people die during demonstrations this week when police opened fire to prevent protesters from storming a police station. The protests, spearheaded by young people, came after the government's decision to build football stadiums for the 2030 FIFA World Cup rather than improving public services and tackling the economic crisis. The group, calling itself Gen Z 212, says it demands the dismissal of the current government for its failure to protect the constitutional rights of people and respond to their social demands. Gold is trading at $3,850, 2 cents an ounce. The rand is at 17.31 to the dollar, 23.26 to the pound, 20.29 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $64.32 a barrel.
And in the traffic heading towards Protea Glen, we've got some delays on the N12 west towards the R558. This is due to faulty traffic lights there. Please be on the lookout. And travelling in Devland, we've got roadworks taking place on the Golden Highway coming out of the N1, causing delays towards Union Avenue.
And in your sport, Captain Laura Wolfart says the Proteas women are aware of English threats ahead of World Cup starter. Amajitsa secure a first win at the Under-20 World Cup. And Bafana coach Hugo Bruce offers some insights into the Mokoena saga.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng, Johannesburg starting at 10 degrees, peaking at 26, Pretoria 11 and 28, Vereeniging 10 and 27. The top story in EW and the Sawa, South African activists on the global Sumud Flotilla have asked governments to intervene after Israel intercepted their boats to deliver aid in Gaza.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702 on 92.7 and 106 FM.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And on DSTV channel 856.
Eight minutes after 6 o'clock. Dumelang, happy Friday. Welcome to 702 Breakfast. My name is Clement Manyatela. In for Bongos this morning. So great to be in your company. I hope you're well this morning. And I hope you're wrapping up your week on a good note. The usual team is here. Bapelile and Rofiwa are taking your calls. KG on the ones and twos. Ray White is here with your business and Amo with traffic. You guys okay this Friday morning?
It is. What is it, Amo? What day is it today, Amo?
It's a Friday.
I forgot to, oh my God, it's a Friday.
Come on, do what you always do every Friday.
Come on, Amo.
You have
Come
to take
on,
the
Amo.
lead as Clement.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
It's a Friday. It's a Friday. It's a Friday.
Happy Friday. We have a jam-packed show planned for you this morning. Before 7 o'clock, we're going to do the political desk. Sanusha Naidu is a senior research fellow at the Institute for Global Dialogue. She's going to join us for this week's political wrap-up. And then for our big interview just after 7 o'clock, we speak to Dr. Attila Kisler, who is the lead of the International Justice Cluster at the Southern African Litigation Center. And we're going to talk about this global Sumud Flotilla, this humanitarian convoy bound for Gaza, which has now been intercepted by Israel. Israel has seized more than 200 activists from several countries. Among those detained are South Africans, including Nelson Mandela's grandson, Mandla Mandela. European lawmakers are part of that group. The global figures like Greta Thunberg. This flotilla was carrying aid and a message of solidarity, and it was stopped in international waters. That has since sparked furious condemnation. But beyond this condemnation, what can be done to stop Israel? It's going to continue to do as it pleases, like we've seen over the last couple of years. The South African government is now demanding that Israel uphold international law, underscoring that this flotilla's mission was purely humanitarian. So many other countries have released statements condemning Israeli action. So we'll speak to Dr. Kisler about that. Just after 8 o'clock, we have the G20 correspondence desk with RMB and FNB. And before we wrap up the show at 9, we will speak to Darren Krief, who is the resident director and resident choreographer of Chicago the Musical. It's on at Monte Cassino's Teatro from the 3rd to the 16th of November 2025. We'll tell you why you don't want to miss that one. Ray, what are you asking us this morning?
This morning, here's the thing. Okay, when buying goods online, have you ever bought something and when you received it, you thought, what on earth is this? Like, this is not the picture. This is not what I ordered. I don't know what this is. Or maybe you were surprised. Maybe you got more than you bargained for. Let's not be negative about things. But I know, Amo, you go shopping online sometimes. Have you ever got something and thought, well, hello there.
This is not what I ordered. No. But my friends often complain about especially dresses that they would have bought online, and then they say it doesn't fit the same way. I always say it doesn't come with the body. So please, let's be careful.
Sure.
Yeah, but I've never had a situation of my own. But a friend of mine has once ordered a dress. It looked like a nice, sort of like anniversary gown that you wear for your anniversary, not necessarily your wedding. And it came on the app. It looked so beautiful with multiple pleats. It was so, like, it was beautiful. And then it got delivered. I don't know what that was. It wasn't what she had ordered.
Yeah,
Wow.
my sister complains a lot because she's on these online stuff to get clothes. I don't know, Ray, but I'm that guy who's gonna say, I told you so. Because why are you ordering clothes online? Don't you need to fit those things? I mean, the make is obviously different. I know with us gents, there are just certain shoes that you'll be a size 8 on, or even certain pants, so suits, you'll be this size on, but a different, structure of that garment can be a different size. So That's why I don't order online.
You've got to be very, very careful, you see, because, you're right. I mean, I got a Tom Cruise jacket the other day, and I don't look like Tom Cruise. I want my money back, I tell you. But, yeah, there we go.
All right, Reza will tell us why he's asking us that question during the business bulletin just around 6:30. It's now 12 minutes after 6.
Morning, Clement. Aye, nisropile, Clement, nisropile. I It's a Friday, Pindan.
Good morning, Clement. This is how it goes. A 1, a 2, a 3. It's a Friday, it's a Friday.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
We love Fridays on 702 Breakfast, don't we? Hey? All right, let's look at your weather, right? And what we can expect today in terms of your temperatures. It's 13 after 6.
702.
Weather.
So, a partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng. Johannesburg starting at 10 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria starting at 11, peaking at 28. Vereeniging 10 and 27. Bombela 14 and 20. Bloemfontein. Temperatures expected to start at around 8 degrees Celsius, expected to peak at 27. Durban, expected to be cloudy with isolated showers and rain starting at a low of 13 and peaking at 17. East London, 11 and 19. Gqeberha, 8 and 18. Cape Town will be fine along with a light and variable breeze at a low of 12 and a high of 28.
EWN Traffic.
14 minutes after 6 o'clock, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Bridgestone Tires. Prepared to perform whatever the terrain. Amo, how are we looking on the roads?
Well, Clement, we've got roadworks taking place on the N3 North. They are right near the Kiluli's interchange. Delays towards Motorfontein Road while travelling on the M1 North, Mike 1 North, that is. Delays between Boyson's Road and the Crown interchange. Peak time delays are piling up along this route. And if you're travelling in the city of Tshwane, do expect delays on the R80 just as you approach Eskia Mpahlele exit. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Weekdays on the highway, weekends on the trail, in rain, on tar, or halfway up a gravel pass. With the new Bridgestone Jeweler All-Terrain AT002, you don't have to choose. Bridgestone, prepared to perform whatever the terrain.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Got big dreams for your small business? The Hollywood Foundation is here to make them a reality with the Bambelela Business Awards. SMMEs in Gauteng. This is your chance to grab a share of 1 million Rand in funding. The awards recognize and reward the contributions small businesses make to growing and transforming our economy. Submit your entries today. Applications close on 4 October 2025. Submissions will be reviewed by a panel of expert judges. Enter now at www.hollywoodfoundation.co.za.
It's that time of the year. Sneezing, itchy, watery eyes, blocked noses and coughs. It's time to live, work, play and sleep allergy-free. For trusted relief for you and your family this allergy season, ask your pharmacist for the Adcock Ingram OTC Allergy Survival Pack. With products like Allergex Non-Drowsy, Cetisid, Levogex and more, we have you covered. Remember, Adcock Ingram OTC. And visit beprepared365.co.za.
702.
Add your voice.
Have your say.
16
walk the talk.
minutes after 6 o'clock. A few things you need to know about this morning. The Palapala burglary trial resumes today at the Modimolle Regional Court with the state's case shaken after 2 key witnesses retracted their police statements. Remember, on Wednesday, Emanuela David and siblings Froliana and Dilinasho Joseph appeared in court accused of breaking into President Cyril Ramaphosa's farm back in 2020 and stealing about $580. Today, the National Education, Health and Allied Workers Union, that's NAHAU, they'll be marching from Gandhi Square to the Provincial Health Department to deliver a memorandum to the MEC. The protest is part of the Provincial Day of Action against corruption, staff shortages, unsafe working conditions, union bashing and crumbling healthcare infrastructure. NAHAU says the crisis highlighted by the SIU's damning report on Tembisa Hospital shows management's failure to resolve long-standing problems, and that has left workers and communities without quality care. In the US, the government shutdown entered its second day, threatening mass layoffs of federal workers. The White House says permanent job losses could happen immediately. The shutdown began on Wednesday after Republicans and Democrats failed to agree on a new spending plan, with Democrats seeking healthcare guarantees and Republicans pushing a short-term funding measure. Adam Gilchrist will have more on that on the World View. The South African Revenue Service will be launching its expedited tax debt compromise process on October 13th, 2025 to help taxpayers settle non-disputed debts older than 12 months. On this day in history, this is back in 1995, the first edition of what became the Guinness World Records book was published in Great Britain and became an instant hit. And I wonder if you have a personal record that you have achieved or broken that you are proud of. Reza, do you have one for you?
Not really. One thing I do, though, is I collect matches. And this happened back in the 1980s when I had family members who went around the country on business trips and they used to bring the matches back. Now I have barrels and barrels of matches. What? So maybe the Guinness Book of guys should come around and see my match collection.
Where do you keep those?
I've got them in like drums. I've got massive drums. My wife keeps putting them away in the storeroom, like get them out of my house. But wow. I don't know what to do with them.
Oh my goodness. Amu?
Well, I've stayed, I think, 11 years without eating meat.
Oh.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Then I had a huge iron deficiency. I had to go back to meat, including supplements and everything. So it was so low that just me not taking the supplements alone was not enough. I still had to eat meat. And then I went back to not eating meat, I think, for 2 years after that. Then my iron deficiency was hectic again, so I had to go back. But 11 years without meat.
Whoa. I met a friend yesterday who actually had a near-death experience, who also had an iron deficiency. And he had decided to go vegetarian, and he had not consulted with the doctors. And that was the lesson basically yesterday. He says never decide to go vegetarian or get off meat without consulting the doctors, because he made that mistake and the consequences were quite severe. Okay, that's interesting to know. 11 years without meat? I don't know if I'd survive that.
I can't do 11 minutes without meat.
Listen, I can do a week without malva pudding, so staying away from anything that I enjoy eating is a problem. Okay, any record? I think for myself it was Comrades. I mean, that was quite something. That was huge. But in terms of like it beating the record, because we've got the Cape Town Marathon coming up on the 19th of October. So when I did the London Marathon, I did 42 kilometers in 3 hours, 35 minutes, which is quite good for someone who just started running about 2-3 years ago. So I'm looking to get a personal best at the Cape Town Marathon. So I need to beat my London and this year's Paris Marathon record at the Cape Town Marathon. So please pray for me, everybody.
I'll be there.
I need to finish in 3 hours, 30 minutes.
I'll actually be there.
Are you going to be there?
Yes, I'm not running. I'll just be supporting you, but I'm there as a supporter.
I'll look out for you on the road, Reza. All right, so give us a call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp on 072-702-1702. What's that personal record you have achieved that you're so proud of, or that you have broken? Share your stories with us.
702.
The newspapers.
Good morning, Sviso Zulu.
Good morning, Clement. In the newspapers this morning, we start from the international front with the Hong Kong Free Press, which is reporting that a former agricultural minister in China was sentenced to death on corruption charges last Sunday with a 2-year reprieve. His name is Tang Ranjan. He's also previously served as the governor of the northwestern province of Gansu, and he accepted cash and property bribes which amounted to 268 million yuan, which is 650 million rand between 2007 and last year. And so the seemingly harsh sentences was justified by the courts on the grounds of causing severe losses of the interests of the states and the people. So that's what China is doing.
Why don't we threaten our government officials with, we're going to deport you to China?
To punish you for stealing from the public.
We should have a bilateral agreement with China that, because our constitution doesn't allow that if someone here does that, we deport them to China, they must punish them.
Maybe it will stop officials from stealing, right? And then the Mail and Guardian this morning is running a story about how Herman Mashaba, the leader of Action SA, could possibly face off with Helen Ziller for the mayoral chains of Joburg, and they're saying that Action SA leader is ready for the race if the party cannot find a better mayoral candidate. And the story goes on to say they could be neck and neck, especially seeing what Action SA is doing in the city of Tshwane with Nasipi Moya, the mayor there. So if they can't find a suitable candidate for mayor in Johannesburg, Action SA leader Herman Mashaba might just throw his hat in the ring.
On the business day, on page 3, Mbalula promises lifestyle audit, says cartels have infiltrated the ANC. That's the headline. The ANC acknowledging yesterday that criminal networks have penetrated its ranks, deepening governance failures and eroding public trust. This is according to the Secretary General of the party, Fikile Mbalula, who said the party has been infiltrated by criminal elements, including organized cartels, which have damaged the organization. I mean, I laugh at this, but it also irritates me because do you really think we're stupid? We're children? You're going to tell us that you've been infiltrated when your leaders have happily been sitting down and even using properties of people that are actually found wanting even by our courts. So it's ridiculous to hear Fikile Mbalula say this. Oh, they're promising lifestyle audits. You know how long the ANC has been talking about this?
For years.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
But every time there's going to be a corruption scandal, because they want to be seen like they're acting and they think we're stupid, they're going to bring it up again. Oh, we want lifestyle audits. Please, that doesn't work anymore, Fikile Mbalula.
And the front page of the Sowetan, they are running a story about how the United Nations must act on Israel. This is, of course, on the Israeli military that has intercepted vessels from the global Sumud Flotilla, which were aiming to reach Gaza to deliver aid there. They've got a picture of Mandla Mandela, the grandson of the late statesman Nelson Mandela. And the Sowetan is saying that as global condemnation grew louder over Israeli military interception of aid boats to Gaza and activists, ANC calls for global peace body to act. Ndaba Mandela says family is lobbying Israel's allies in the US to secure the release of campaigners, including Mandla Mandela. And the Citizen this morning, the front page is running quite an interesting story about how South Africa's hidden sex trade, it says, with unemployment soaring, adult content creation offers financial lifelines and social fallout. Tens of thousands of women earn untaxed income online as platforms like OnlyFans reshape sex work. Creators say independence and income outweigh judgment as the industry tops about 6 billion rand a year in revenue.
Those
are the newspapers.
EWN Business.
26 minutes after 6 o'clock. Ray White, you've been asking us this morning if we've ever ordered something online, and what we ordered is not what we have received. Why are you asking us that?
Well then, because online fast fashion retailer Shein plans to open its first bricks and mortar shops in France next month. This is under an agreement with department store owner Société des Grands Magasins, a move that sparked criticism from French retailers. This marks a new step for Shein, which has up to now only hosted temporary marketing-driven pop-ups around the world. SGM President Frédéric Moulin says the launch will attract a younger clientele. That's what he's saying. If you get these younger people to come in physically into our shops, we'll sell more. Now, Shein, which sells sells €12 dresses and €20 jeans faces pressure from other retailers, politicians and regulators in France, where lawmakers have backed a draft law regulating fast fashion. They're not too keen, Clem, on cheaper fashion flooding their markets and want to implement a ban on Shein from advertising. This is the question I have for you. If you got yourself into a situation and they opened up a Shein down the road, would you order it online or would you physically go and walk into that store?
I need to walk into the store because I need to feel it on my skin. Like, I'm not paying money for something I've not fitted.
Well, that's the thing. Well, this is the thing. My wife the other day, she bought some shoes online. She brought them home, or she got them out the box. And I was kind of like, what are those things? And she don't be rude, and disappeared and sent them back. So that is the kind of thing that could happen. So that's what's happening there. The rand in the markets, Clem, this morning, the Asian markets are looking to finish on a high, shrugging off the US government shutdown. And what's happened is earlier on this week, 6 o'clock, 2 mornings ago, we had a situation where the government shut down, and the Asian markets were a little bit rickety when it came to this. They thought, what's going on? But those Asian markets are now saying, we're shrugging this off. This has happened before. Since 1980, there have been 15 incidents where the government has shut down in the United States. The only problem with this, though, monetary policy. And we don't know whether there's going to be jobs data coming out soon for the United States, and that's what they use for their interest rates to decide on their what we call a repo rate. So we don't know what's happening there. But apart from that, looking at the United States, there are massive concerns now because US President Donald Trump, he has confirmed that he wants to get rid of 300,000 jobs, government workers, to go. And if this does happen, this could spell doom for quite a few people. A lot of people have been given a furlough, and what that means is they've been told to go home, and they're not paid either. So a lot of US government workers are not happy at the moment. Looking at the rand now, it hasn't affected the rand to the dollar. And I think that's because a lot of people are looking at AGOA and waiting for a decision there. The rand to the dollar is 17.21. The pound is 23.20. The euro is at 20.20. Platinum, $1,561.91. Brent crude oil is $65.69. But the big story is gold. It keeps edging up at the moment. Reason for that is that traders and investors are seeing gold as a safe haven, waiting to see what's going to be happening with the United States. So gold now $3,869.25. Yesterday, going a little bit towards that $4,000 level. Many traders saying that will happen next week. Ray White, Eyewitness News Business.
Exactly 6:30. Susa Zulu has the latest in Eyewitness News. Good morning.
Thanks, Clemens. Good morning. SASSA has committed to once again resolve the latest delays in the payment of social grants. Some pensioners who tried to access their money yesterday couldn't do so. The agency says the extent of the problem is unclear, but it has committed to keeping beneficiaries updated. Spokesperson Andile Shona says the issue seems to have mainly affected Capitec Bank users.
We would really like to apologize as SASSA to all our beneficiaries who experienced this challenge, and we want to assure them that we are going to get to the bottom of it, and we are hoping that their funds will be released soon.
This pensioner says she was also affected.
This isn't the first time. I got my notification at 12:10 last night. It said my money was in. When I went to Pick n Pay to get my money wasn't there.
Airports Company South Africa says anyone headed to the Cape Town International Airport will benefit from heightened security measures in a high crime zone on the N2 highway. Access Thabo Pateng was speaking at the launch of the deployment of 44 police and traffic officers near Borchards Quarry yesterday. The area is where a vehicle was hit by a concrete block in July, injuring a motorist. Ntutuzelo Nene reports.
The additional Metro Police and traffic officers will now patrol the section between the airport and Somerset West. Access Acting Regional General Manager Thabo Pateng says officers will also be stationed inside the airport.
We will have a lot of travelers this festive season going to and from the airport. Therefore, you want to ensure safety of those people because they use public roads to get to the airport. Also, the misbehavior on these public roads can also happen at the airport as well.
The city of Cape Town says every month it receives at least 500 reports of incidents on its highways, including attacks on motorists and pedestrians. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
In Germany, the Munich airport has halted flights after several drone sightings. Several people spotted the drones at the airport yesterday, leading to the closure of both runways for about an hour. German authorities have launched a search to identify the origin of the drones. The move by German authorities is the latest in a string of similar aviation disruptions across Europe. Airports in Denmark, Norway and Poland have recently suspended flights over unidentified drones. A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures are at lows of 10 and 11 degrees, peaking at highs between 26 and 28.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North leaving Katlehong. This is due to a car that is stuck on the road near Heidelberg Road. Please be on the lookout there. While traveling on the N3 North towards Alexandra, do expect heavier traffic volumes between the Geldenhuys interchange and Modderfontein Road.
The top story this hour, SASSA has committed to once again resolve the latest delays in the payments of social grants.
702. Serving the 702 family in 702 land, including those of you in Vereniging. Vereniging is situated on the banks of the Vaal River and is one of our most important industrial manufacturing centers in the country. Chief products include iron, steel, bricks, tiles, and lime. Several coal mines in the area supply coal to nearby Eskom power stations. An historic treaty was signed in Vereniging in 1902, ending the South African War between the Boer republics and the then British Empire. 702. Let's walk the talk across 702 land, including Vereniging.
With OUTsurance Business Insurance, you can protect your business and reward your cash flow. Switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance and you could get an out bonus of up to 10% of your paid premiums back. For law firms, real estate agencies, computer services, and other industries, OUTsurance Business Insurance are trusted experts in insuring your business. Get a quick and easy quote today. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
Light the fire this game day with a winning lineup from Checkers, like Championship Boerewors, thick or thin, for just $109.99 per kilo. Steakhouse Classic man-sized T-bone steak for only 150 Rand per kilo. And Coca-Cola Original Taste Less Sugar soft drink, 2 liters, 2 for 45 Rand. Save 11 Rand. Light the fire, South Africa, and let Checkers do the rest. Deals valid until this Sunday, only at Checkers.
Mzansi, Powerball is bringing the thrill with a jaw-dropping 110 million Rand estimated jackpot this Friday. Don't delay. Play Powerball for an estimated 110 million Rand jackpot today and step closer to a world of endless possibilities. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
702.
WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Happy Friday, Mr. Manitela and 702 lenders. Clement, I was heartbroken with you not running the Comrades this year. Next week is the launch on the 8th of October. When it opens, please register immediately. No manga business, and everything of the best with your PB Pursuit and the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. Thanks for a great show. Tsepo in Boksburg.
Yeah, Tsepo. Listen, I have actually put it on my diary and I've set the alarm for that day when the launch happens, and then we need to start registering. And just to give you context, I ran Comrades Marathon last year, and I was supposed to run this year, but I couldn't because I had issues with my entry. Yeah, there were issues with my entry. But the issue there is that I didn't start on time. So I was actually thinking that I'm going to because when people have entered, they wait and see who's come out, who's no longer going to make it, and then they say, okay, you can do your substitution entries. So I tried to get in through that, but I trained the whole time. And anybody who has run Comrades will tell you the most important, the most difficult thing is not Comrades, it's the training, because that's what breaks you. You have to push yourself to the limits. And that's exactly what I did. And it was so disappointing not to run when you have put your body through so much pain over the last 6-7 months. But this year, when they launch, I'm not taking any chances. I'm going to be ready for it next year.
EWN Sport.
23 minutes before 7 o'clock. Anthony Teixeira, good morning.
Good morning. Clement, we're going to be starting with the Under-20 World Cup, where Amajita have dominated in their clash against New Caledonia, picking up a first win of the tournament. It was 5-0. Meanwhile, in our group, the USA outworked France 3-0 to go top of the group with successive wins. The senior national team's head coach, Hugo Bruce, has tried to explain how Teboho Mokoena was allowed to play against Lesotho in World Cup qualifying despite having a pending suspension for too many yellow cards.
Between the first yellow card of Teboho and the match of Lesotho, there were 16 months. 16 months. But during those periods, you played AFCON, you played qualifiers for a new AFCON, and you played World Cup. So it may not happen, but it's understandable.
The South Africans have been docked 3 points for that oversight and will need wins against Zimbabwe and Rwanda, as well as results to go their way elsewhere in order to make the 2026 World Cup in North America. The coach took responsibility during the squad naming.
Well, it's clear. I'm responsible. I'm the coach. I have to know that this guy had 2 yellow cards. My technical staff is responsible because they didn't tell me, hey, Teboho has 2 yellow cards. The team manager is responsible, but he didn't have the follow-up. The player is responsible because he didn't say us anything. And the administration of SAFA is responsible.
In the Europa League, second half goals from Buendia and Captain McGinn handed Aston Villa a 2-0 win over Feyenoord. Meanwhile, European football returned to Nottingham Forest for the first time in 3 decades as they lost 3-2 Midtjylland, and Crystal Palace won their first ever European game 2-0 against Dynamo Kiev in the Conference League. In cricket, the Proteas women will get their Cricket World Cup started today against an opponent they've historically struggled against, England. Captain Laura Wolfart is relishing the challenge.
Very excited to get going. Obviously, like you said, England are a very strong side, but we really enjoy playing against them in World Cups. I think they've beaten us in the semi-final of the last 2 editions of this tournament, so I think we'd be really keen to looking to get a good start against them. I think being able to beat a team like that early on really sets the tone for the competition, so I think we've got a really strong group of players here, and I think we've prepared well.
Play begins at 11:30, while Thursday we saw the Bangladesh women win their tournament opener against Pakistan by 7 wickets. And in golf, Gary Higo is amongst the leaders at the Sanderson Farms Championship after the first round on 7 under par. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Good morning, Uncle Clement and team. My name is Mohaudino and I'm 10 years old. I am in Ramfontein Primary School. And when I grow up, I want to be a medical doctor. I can't wait to participate in the Whiz Quiz.
Oh, Mahau, I can't wait to play with you.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
EWN Traffic.
This Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Amo, how are we looking?
Well, we've got a peak time delays, Clement, on the Marquand North. This is between the Boysons Road exit and Carr Street. If you are traveling on the R24 West, we've got an accident reported. It's right near the Kilulis interchange. Delays coming out of Edenville Road. And speaking of the Kilulis, we've got delays on the N3 North through the Kilulis interchange towards Modderfontein Road. This is due to roadworks that are taking place along this route, and more roadworks are taking place as you continue making your way towards Sunny Hill via the N3 North towards the Baklu interchange. Please be on the lookout there. Peak time delays on the N1 North between Malibongwe Drive and Rivonia Road. There's also queuing traffic along Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen Road and Leslie Avenue. I'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car on the way to the hospital, carrying an elderly couple, playfully bantering about who their first grandchild will look like. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's bringing 2 generations together. Every story is different, and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005, in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Gardeners, it's time to save big with the Stodell's flash sale this week only at Stodell's garden centers. Get 30% off all plants and 50% off all pots. Visit Stodell's garden centers in Bryanston, Ferndale and Menlo Park today. Pop in and experience the happiness for yourself. Stodell's is ready to greet you with lots of free smiles. Stodell's, create happiness.
Tani Esther, or should I say the Tupperware Tani? How's business going?
Business is booming. I've been operating out of the boot of my car for 10 years, but shame, it couldn't keep up with my growing empire.
Okay, so you sold it to We Buy Cars?
Yes, quick. Sold my old one, bought a bigger one. I even sold some of my Tupperware to the friendly guy who picked up my car.
Stick to what you know best, eh, Tani?
Excuse me?
Never mind. We Buy Cars. Geared for your business, geared for you.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the brand new days.
702. WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Good morning, Clement and team. Clement, it is clear the Israel plan, including that of Donald Trump, is to get rid of all Palestinians in Gaza. I think we cannot pretend anymore that we don't see this. They are using all means necessary to get rid of the Palestinians there. The overall objective is to conquer the whole Middle East. The unfortunate thing is that most Arabs hate each other. Once they are done with Palestinians, they are going to move to another Arab state. They are going to annex that state until the whole Middle East is annexed. The next one is Africa. Mark my words. I just hope we'll be there in future to witness that. Sipo from Tembisa.
Hi, Sipo. I mean, the United Nations, didn't they find about a month ago that Israel has committed genocide in Gaza? Remember that United Nations Commission of Inquiry, they released their report which said that there are reasonable grounds to conclude that 4 of the 5 genocidal acts defined under international law have been carried out since the start of the war with Hamas in 2023. I mean, Israel came out to categorically reject that report, denouncing it as distorted and false. But even the United Nations itself, through its report, says Israel has been committing genocide. And now what Israel is doing is stop this flotilla. Now our government says the activists have been abducted. Israel says, yes, we've taken them in, we're taking them to the shore, and then we're going to deport them to Europe. But these were peaceful activists. They were just trying to symbolically demonstrate support for Palestine, but also try to offer some sort of humanitarian aid, especially given that there have been concerns, and Israel has been called out on this, of not allowing enough aid into Gaza. Even the United Nations has raised that concern. And I guess the question I've been asking myself is, yes, there's condemnation from all these different countries, but what difference is that going to make? Because Israel has been doing as it pleases during this war. They've been violating they've violated the resolutions of the United Nations. They have even upset Israel's biggest ally, the United States. And yet, there's no consequences whatsoever. That's what we've become used to now. It's 14 minutes now before 7 o'clock.
Morning, Clement. Is really the CEO of Tembisa passed on? Is he really passed on? Is he really dead? The CEO of Tembisa, because we have all this news all over in this morning. Is it true? Case in case.
Well, I'm not sure. I think I did see something like that being posted yesterday, but I'll get the producers to check that and I'll come back to you. But yeah, there were some posts doing the rounds. He wasn't killed whatsoever. My understanding is that he died after a short illness from what was being posted around. I haven't been able to independently verify that, but I'll get the producers to check that out.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
All right, time now for the Whiz Quiz. We're playing with Mohau today, who is 10 years of age, goes to Randfontein Primary School. Mohau, how are you feeling this morning? Hello, Mohau.
Hello.
Mohau, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I was putting it on mic, sorry.
Okay, no worries, but you can hear us clearly now. It's important that you can hear us so that you're able to go through your questions without any issues. Are we good to go?
Yes,
all right.
I'm ready.
All the best, Mohau. KG, start the clock. Spell the word sing.
Can you repeat?
Spell the word sing.
S-I-N-G.
Correct. In math, how many milliliters are there in 1 liter?
1,000.
Correct.
No.
How many sides does a hexagon have? 6 or 7?
6.
Correct. What is the largest planet in the solar system?
Jupiter.
Correct. Are Belgium and the Netherlands republics or kingdoms?
Republics.
Incorrect. How many minutes are in 1 hour?
60 minutes.
Correct. True or false? The President of the United States lives in the White House while in office.
True.
Correct. How many colors are there in a rainbow?
6.
7. In fairy tale, Cinderella gets to the ball with the help of the fairy who? Godmother would have been the correct answer there, Mohau. You have got 6 correct answers. You walk away with 600 Rand. Congratulations, Mohau. 600 Rand on the way to you. If you want to play the Whiz Quiz, you know what to do. Just send us a WhatsApp on 072 702 1702.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Coming up in the next hour, what's the question? And it's brought to you by Outrance. Up to 3,000 Rand in cash. 4 grabs. All you need to do is send us an answer based on anything that piqued your interest on the show, and you could win 1,000 Rand. Simply WhatsApp your name and that answer to 072 702 1702. And of course, a little later, someone else will ask the question to win 2,000 Rand. Remember, you stand a better chance of being selected to give us today's answer if you have SMS'd out to Outrance and got yourself a quote. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance.
702.
The Political Desk.
It's going up to 10 minutes now before 7 o'clock. And on the political desk this morning, we've got Sanusha Naidu, who is a senior research fellow at the Institute for Global Dialogue. And she joins us now to look at this week's, as we wrap this week's politics. Sanusha, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement.
Let's start with the story around the EFF leader, Julius Malema. He was found guilty of breaching sections of the Firearms Control Act. How much does this hurt him and the EFF?
It's a dilemma, I would say, for the leader and the party, because then, of course, the question becomes is what does happen to his position or rather his seat in Parliament. According to the rules of Parliament, the question would be if he has been indicted, then the challenge would be can he retain the seat. On the other hand, I think there's also going to be questions around whether his leadership as leader of the party, is that still intact, despite the fact that he has indicated that he's going to appeal the decision. So I think when it comes to opposition right now in South Africa, we're still very much in that fragile architecture where we're not sure what's going on, particularly in terms of the fact that we are coming closer and closer to local government election.
Mm-hmm. Well, something else that we saw this week was the explosive revelations at the Madlanga Commission. We now understand that there's even a Big Five cartel. We understand more about the kind of links between politicians and some of these business people, but also Advocate Terry Mutau, the chief evidence leader, stepping down, raising concerns even around finances and budgeting processes at the Madlanga Commission. Any implications on all of this, on the work of that commission, in your view?
Well, I think it raises questions around whether the Commission can deliver its mandate in terms of the 3-month interim report and then, of course, the 6-month report that the President had indicated they would. But I think these kinds of issues also become, especially the structural issues that were raised by the advocate, in terms of whether these are going to basically now impede the Commission's work. We know that the Commission's only going to meet again in October, on October 13th. And these are issues that will also become kind of part of the fact that, if it is to actually have a report on time, what will that report look like, how it will go forward. I think the financing question is really critical, but also I think, if it's going to hamper the work of the Commission, it really raises questions around whether the Commission is able to collate all of the information, put it into into a document with findings. I suspect that we are sitting in also another little dilemma with the Commission, and that is when you have those that have the right to reply to the evidence that has already been given.
Mm-hmm. Dumisani Kumalo, the head of crime intelligence, as he was testifying this week, he was referencing some WhatsApp communications linking this cartel to senior SAPS officials and ANC affiliated businessmen. I saw Phil Mbalula yesterday saying that the ANC has been infiltrated by criminal cartels, but also speaking about the importance of lifestyle audits and how the ANC will be doing that. And I don't remember since when, Sonisha, the ANC has been talking about this. It's almost like every time there's a scandal, they bring this issue of lifestyle audits up so that they're seen to be doing something. They're seen to be outraged. But this is something they've been talking about for so long.
Absolutely, Clement. I mean, it's a revolving door. They go out, they come back, and they say the same thing. And the challenge is that if you are going to go and do a lifestyle audit, I think it's easy to just say, we need to do lifestyle audits. But of course, once you start getting into that area of auditing your members in the party and of course others, you're going to also open up a Pandora's box. And I think sometimes these lifestyle audits come very close to home and very close to the fire and where the fire is. So it's a bit frustrating to keep hearing the same rhetoric being repeated, unless, of course, that if they are to show that these lifestyle audits are going to be done in a way that's going to be applicable and amenable. But at this point in time, I think you and I, Clement, have just kind of we nod our head and say, okay.
Yeah, it's just quite incredible. The SIU also dropped a shocking interim report on the Tembisa hospital this week. I mean, 2 billion rand. That's a staggering amount. That's how much was basically looted from the Tembisa hospital. These are funds that were meant to safeguard the nation's most vulnerable patients. And once again, Sanusha, I wonder if we're going to see people being arrested here, because we do get outraged and we see these reports and you think, the SIU have managed to crack the code. The NPA is just going to follow through. It's going to make their work easy. But that hasn't always been the case.
Yeah, it's really disappointing and frustrating that you have this report now, and like in the past, we've had other reports where people have been implicated, and you wait 2, 3, 4 months, in fact, even longer than that, while the legal process is to take its course. We don't really see what the punitive action and what the consequences are. Remember, President Ramaphosa speaks about consequence management, and this has never really come to fruition in the presidency of Ramaphosa. So I think the challenge is that what's the next step for this as a result of this SIU report and the amount of money that was then looted from and basically people that have actually defrauded the hospital. And of course it's a healthcare institution, and it is unconscionable that you do that to people who are waiting for medical treatment and other forms of medical intervention. But you're right, Clement. The question is, if we're going to see a more protected now situation where we're going to go through a legal system, we're going to jump through hoops, but are they really going to get to the kingpins, get to the people who were the masterminds who actually benefited, including others who may have benefited indirectly from this looting of Tembisa Hospital.
Yeah, and I mean, what's surprising also is when you see all these politicians come up and they're acting all shocked, as if this is the first time we're hearing about this. I mean, News 24 has done an incredible work through its investigations. Jeff Wicks has even published a book about the incredible work of Babita Deokaran, who exposed all of this rot before she was taken out. And now everybody is like, we are not going to allow this. Well, you knew about it for a while now. What have you actually done about it? Let's wrap up with tributes now that continue to pour in following the sudden death of Nathi Mthethwa. What a tragic story.
Shocking. Absolute shock, I think, in terms of hearing the news, but also the death itself. And I think, we've got to be able to give the family their space as well, to mourn, to come to terms with the events that had led to his death, and also the fact that, the investigation that's happening in France. But I think at the end of the day, it's always quite difficult to process when it's a death of anybody. But I think, again, he was ambassador to France. Whatever has transpired, we just have to wait. But again, we have to make sure we respect the family and respect his partner and give them their space to grieve.
Yeah, absolutely. Sonisha Naidu, thank you so much for making time for us. Sonisha, just taking us there through this week's political wrap-up. Sonisha is a senior research fellow at the Institute for Global Dialogue.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Good morning, Clemmy and the team. It is allegedly true that the former CEO of Tembisa Hospital did die, but in the country we live in, it was such a convenient death shortly after the allegations. So obviously, yes, we're having our doubts. And his widow actually was recently dismissed from a union. She was the Secretary General and previously the president of that very union. She was dismissed for financial transgressions. Surprise, surprise.
Good morning, Clement and 702 Land. So the article that was doing the rounds is about a former CEO of Tembisa Hospital, not the current. Apparently, the article that I had read, it says that he passed away sometime in April last year due to a short illness. So it's a former CEO, not the current.
Yeah, that's what I read too, and wasn't referring to the current one, but also it wasn't a death that had happened now. It's a death that happened a while back. But also, conspiracy theories are abound now. Everybody trying to figure out what's at play. I mean, you may have seen even what's happening with Nathi Mthethwa and all sorts of things that people are trying to connect the dots around. So, yeah, some people feel like there are people that have died under questionable circumstances, but you don't know that until the authorities have, of course, confirmed the circumstances of their death. It's now 7 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Protests spark in many parts of the world calling for the release of activists detained by Israel, and US officials have snubbed a G20 meeting in Cape Town. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. A growing number of countries continue to express concern after Israel detained activists, including South Africans, on board vessels carrying aid to Gaza. The Israeli Navy intercepted the flotilla this week off the Gaza coast in international waters, and it's been criticized for policing the area without having any jurisdiction there. Protests have escalated in many parts of the world, including in London.
The attack against the Flotilla, Sumud, it was a barbaric escalation from the Israel apartheid state. They don't want even to open a passage for humanitarian help to Gaza.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has joined world leaders who've described Israel's monitoring of international waters as a violation of international law. The president's spokesperson, Vincent Magwenya.
On behalf of the government and the nation, President Ramaphosa calls on Israel to immediately release the South Africans abducted in international waters and to release other nationals who have tried to reach Gaza with humanitarian aid.
Colombian President Gustavo Petro has expelled all remaining Israeli diplomats from the country in response and denounced the interception of the international crime by Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Meanwhile, a member of the legal team working with the global Sumud Flotilla says there will be a further attempt to breach Israel's blockade in the coming days. A budget shutdown in the US has caused its officials to be a no-show at the final G20 meeting on parliamentarians in the Western Cape. After Parliament initially confirmed 4 representatives would attend the 2-day event, EWN understands they had to withdraw after a funding fight in Washington effectively shut down the government there. Parliament's presiding officers say the final declaration will instead be sent through diplomatic channels to next year's G20 hosts. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
National Assembly Speaker Toko Didiza closed this week's P20 summit, saying it had been both a vibrant space for dialogue, but also for fruitful bilateral meetings on the sidelines. But the closing session was dimmed by the absence of US officials who were expected to receive the final declaration. In the main, the US has not sent its top officials to South Africa's G20 events this year over political tensions between the two countries since President Donald Trump assumed office. Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Refilwe Mtshweni Tsipane, explained the US's absence.
We were expecting 4 delegates from the US. However, due to the shutdown, they were unable to attend.
In its final declaration, the P20 recognizes the importance of upholding multilateralism, resisting protectionism, and promoting global cooperation in addressing multidimensional crises. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Claremont.
Joburg Metro Police say they are investigating a courier company for allegedly packaging material that was used to wrap 21 million rand worth of drugs found in Linbro Park. 2 people were arrested on the M2 highway yesterday carrying 2 bales of marijuana. The suspects led police to a storage facility where a larger quantity of the drugs was found neatly wrapped in plastic bags. Jabulile Mbata reports.
Joburg Metro Police say the packaging of the drugs show that those involved could be professionals. Most of the bales of marijuana were wrapped with a particular courier company's packaging material. Police are now investigating syndicates transporting drugs. Joburg Public Safety MMC Mgcini Chaku.
So the JMPD TRU followed up a lead where the suspects were in a car and they followed them up and they were coming into a storage here in this area there of the Linbro Park, and they found the dacha that's probably worth the street value of about 21 million, because each bag is about 400,000 and you've got plus minus 50 bags that are here.
Chaku says police will conduct more drug busts to rid the city of these syndicates. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News, Linbro Park.
And a man who killed 2 people outside a synagogue in the UK is believed to be a British citizen of Syrian descent. Greater Manchester Police have named the suspect as Jihad Al-Shami, a 35-year-old who is understood to have entered the UK as a young child. He was granted British citizenship in 2006. 2 men in their 30s and a woman in her 60s have been arrested on suspicion of commission, preparation and instigation of acts of terrorism. Al-Shami allegedly drove a car towards the gates of the synagogue and then began attacking people with a knife. He was stopped from getting inside by security guards and members of the congregation. Police shot him dead minutes later, fearing that he was wearing a suicide device. Chief Constable for Greater Manchester Police, Stephen Watson.
There were a large number of worshippers attending the synagogue at the time of this attack, but thanks to the immediate bravery of security staff and the worshippers inside, as well as the fast response of the police, the attacker was prevented from gaining access.
Gold is trading at $3,845.05 an ounce. The rand is at 17.29 to the dollar, 23.24 to the pound, 20.27 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $64.50 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy traffic volumes along the M1 North in the Harton area. This is due to an accident right after Harton Drive. It's causing heavy traffic volumes. Please be on the lookout there while traveling in four ways. Delays on Winnie Mandela Drive, both directions between Witkoppen Road and Leslie due to peak time pressure. There's also queuing traffic in Sharon Lee on Malibongwe Drive towards the N1.
And in your sport, final round of the Rugby Championships hits our screen Saturdays. While today the Proteas women start their World Cup campaign against England, Amajitsa keep their playoff hopes alive at the Under-20 World Cup, and Bafana name their squad for the international break.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: a growing number of countries continue to express concern after Israel detained activists, including South Africans, on board vessels carrying aid to Gaza.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702 on 92.7 and 106 FM.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And on DSTV channel 856.
Condemnation. There are more and more countries that now continue to express concern after Israel detained activists, including South Africans, on board these vessels that are carrying aid to South Africa. But beyond this condemnation, what's going to happen to Israel? How is Israel going to be held accountable? Israel says the activists are being taken to shore and will be deported to Europe. Countries are calling these Israeli actions illegal. There are now calls for the United Nations to act because this was a peaceful and humanitarian mission to draw attention to the humanitarian needs of the Palestinian people in Gaza and to deliver vital aid to alleviate the widespread suffering. Israel told the vessels to change course as they were approaching what Israel says was an active combat zone. But the Flotilla argues that these people are civilians, they are unarmed groups, and that the passage of humanitarian aid is guaranteed under international law. In fact, listen to Nelson Mandela's grandson, Mandla Mandela, and what he had to say before they were taken by Israel.
My name is Nkosizwe Veli Lemandela. I'm a citizen of the Republic of South Africa. If you are receiving this video, it means that we have been intercepted and have been abducted by the apartheid state of Israel. I call on you to request our government to exert pressure for my immediate release.
And of course, President Cyril Ramaphosa released a statement yesterday calling on the release of those that have been abducted. In fact, if you saw the live broadcasts, from the activists, you could see the Israeli boats, the soldiers approaching these vessels. We're told that some were sprayed with water cannon and there was just flashing bright lights before those troops boarded the flotilla. But this is something that they anticipated, right? That's why the activists who were wearing life jackets, they were just sitting there in circles. They raised their hands in the air. Some managed to stream the moment live from their cell phones before tossing their devices into sea. Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, the founder of Gift of the Givers, did say that this was something that, they anticipated.
It was expected they would go aboard the ship. It was expected they would point guns at unarmed people. It's expected they would detain them and arrest them. That's not news. That's common what Israel does. We have to take it in context. A flotilla is not a big issue for them. If they can reject the whole world, act with impunity, just don't respect human rights and humanity.
Hence, I ask, condemnations. Where is this going to lead us? And that's not to say people mustn't be outraged by the actions of Israel. But at some point, we need to ask ourselves, what is it going to take to get Israel to sit on the table? One, to discuss a potential solution that works for both Israel and Palestine. A two-state solution has been proposed. They have completely disregarded that. Trump himself, the president of the US, seemingly can't get Benjamin Netanyahu to agree to a two-state solution. The United Nations, resolution after resolution, those have been violated by Israel. So condemn it all you want, but it continues to act with impunity. So what is it going to take? Because outrage from more and more countries, global condemnation, United Nations resolutions, even a rebuke by the US President Donald Trump, the biggest ally of Israel, is being disregarded by Benjamin Netanyahu. So who gets to speak some sense to Israel and to the Prime Minister of Israel?
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
All right, a number of things you need to know about this morning. The Phala burglary trial resumes today at the Modimolle Regional Court, with the state's case shaken after two key witnesses retracted their police statements. On Wednesday, Emanuela David and siblings Froliana and Dilinasho Joseph appeared in court accused of breaking into President Cyril Ramaphosa's farm back in 2020 and stealing about $580,000. On this day, back in 2018, a bottle of Macallan Valerio Adami 1926 sold for over $1.1 million at the Bonhans auction in Edinburgh, setting a world record as the most expensive whiskey ever sold. Today, the National Education, Health and Allied Workers Union, NEHAU, will be marching from Gandhi Square to the Provincial Health Department to deliver a memorandum to the MEC. The protest is part of a provincial day of action against corruption, staff shortages, unsafe working conditions, union bashing, and crumbling healthcare infrastructure. NEHAU says the crisis highlighted by the SIU's damning report on Tembisa Hospital shows management's failure to resolve long-standing problems, leaving workers and communities without quality care. And a happy birthday to Gwen Stefani, who turns 56 today. She was born in 1969 in California.
Cause I've been acting like sour milk all on the floor. It's your fault you didn't shut the refrigerator. Maybe that's the reason I've been acting so cold. If I could escape and recreate a place that's my own world, and I could be your favorite girl forever, perfectly together. And tell me, boy, now wouldn't that be sweet? If I could be sweet, I know I've been a real bad girl. Boy, now wouldn't that be sweet?
Up next,
The Big Interview.
EWN Traffic.
15 minutes after 7 o'clock, this Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Amuramela, there are some delays there in Houghton. How is that affecting traffic?
Well, Clement, an accident has been reported. It's right after Houghton Drive. It's causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of Empire Road. And if you're traveling within the Houghton area, Houghton Drive in itself packed up coming out of Louis Botha Avenue. And if you're traveling on the N12 West, we've got another accident scene reported just as you approach the Gilulis interchange. Delays from the Edenville Road exit. The R24 is also heavily backed up as a result of this scene. I'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever late excuse number 90. You were hunting for your child's missing hamster. That one's a stretch. But unfortunately, with the outsurance pointsmen on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The outsurance pointsmen easing traffic congestion and getting you there quickly and safely since 2005. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In partnership with 702, show them some love online using hashtag PointsmenLove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
The big interview.
Right, 16 minutes now after 7 o'clock. A growing number of countries continue to express concern after Israeli government detained activists, including South Africans, on board vessels carrying aid to Gaza. The Israeli Navy intercepted their flotilla this week off the Gaza coast in international waters, and it's been criticized of policing the area without having any jurisdiction there. You've got protests now that have escalated in many parts of the world, including in London, with people calling for the release of their activists. Let's bring in now Dr. Attila Kisler, who is the lead of the International Justice Cluster at the Southern African Litigation Center, who joins us now via Zoom. Dr. Kisler, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, and thanks so much for having me.
Let's just start with getting clarity around just what the law says, because part of those that are decrying what's happened and criticizing Israel is that they don't necessarily have authority over this specific jurisdiction, so they're policing the area without any jurisdiction here. What does the law say?
So if we look at Israel's and the Israeli authorities' conduct, we cannot just look at this one operation of the flotilla in isolation. We have to look at it in the context of what's happening on the ground in Gaza, of course. That starts with the unlawful occupation as confirmed by the International Court of Justice in its advisory opinion last year. But we also have to look at it in the context of the ongoing genocide, the famine, and the starvation of civilians in Gaza. So, and on top of that, of course, we have the provisional measures by the International Court of Justice that are relevant here. So in this context, we already know that the consequences of the blockade, whether it's by the air, sea, or by land, is that the civilian population is starving and suffering and going through a famine, which is specifically targeting the civilian population. So having all that background, I think it leads us to, of course, international humanitarian law, the laws of war, and of course, an important pillar of the international humanitarian law is that you have to allow for free passage of medical equipment or humanitarian aid. There are certain scenarios where a blockade is allowed under international law. However, looking at this situation, and that's where I speak about a little bit more a specific instrument of international law, which is called the San Remo Manual. It directly relates to naval warfare. And under that manual, which reflects most of its roots to reflect customary international law, which is binding international law, a blockade that has the sole purpose of starving the civilian population or denying objects like that are essential for its survival, that kind of blockade is prohibited. There are certain scenarios where even that manual is setting out that a blockading party must allow for free passage, and they can have that can be conducted as local supervision. But from an international law perspective, it doesn't stop there. I mean, we also have the International Court of Justice provisional measures that directly speak to allowing for humanitarian aid. So if we now look at this blockade and the lawfulness of that blockade, against that backdrop, it strongly appears that it is in violation of international law, international humanitarian law. And if once we have a unlawful blockade, we cannot have a legal basis or a lawful interception of these vessels in that context. So that is just to say that bottom line is that the blockade that is aimed to or that has the purpose to prevent humanitarian aid and starve civilians cannot be legal.
Yeah. Israel's foreign ministry said yesterday that several vessels from the flotilla were, quote unquote, safely stopped, and that those on board were being transferred to an Israeli port, and they will then be deported to Europe. But there are more and more countries that are, of course, calling for the release of these activists. And, I suppose what I'm always asking myself is, because we always see the condemnations, but Israel ends up doing what Israel wants to do at the end of the day.
Unfortunately, there has been true so far, especially in the previous 2 years. We will have to see whether the activists will be released and deported. In the past, the activists, since this is not the first flotilla or this kind of action by activists, the activists in question have been deported. So one can only hope that that will be the quickest and easiest way to also save for the activists to come home safely. Otherwise, I haven't seen any reports to that regard, and it's speculation. But of course, another venue would be to bring in domestic charges against these activists.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything in that regard.
What risks do activists take when joining missions like this? And I just wonder how significant is the detention of also these high-profile figures, because you've got Greta Thunberg, you've got the grandson of Nelson Mandela, Mandla Mandela, and they have helped put a spotlight on what Israel has been doing. But also, I wonder if their high profiles somehow also puts pressure on the Israeli government to release them safely, but also as soon as possible.
I think the participation of high-profile figures shows actually how important this is, not only to the international community and people in global politics, but to the people in all these countries and beyond that. So I think it helps that we, for instance, talked this morning about this. It helps that people do not forget about the people in Gaza. At the same time, it shows again the pattern of Israeli authorities to not being afraid of going against such high-profile figures, like you said in the example of Greta Thunberg, who was deported after being on a flotilla like this. So the Israeli authorities in that regard do not shy away to intercept these kind of vessels. But on another level, it shows that it shows the initiative of civilians who are willing to take part in this and to push for a humanitarian corridor or to get humanitarian aid in, which should be primarily the job of states and international community, and who has been working on this for the past 2 years, but we haven't seen much success in that regard.
And to be clear, the situation is still dire. Right, in Gaza, the humanitarian crisis. I mean, that's exactly what this flotilla was seeking to highlight and address, isn't it? The Israeli government is saying, well, this is a provocation. They're saying that there are various countries that have offered to deliver the aid that these boats were actually carrying. But we know in the past, Israel has been accused of not allowing enough aid into Gaza, and also there have been issues with how it even distributes the aid that arrives in Gaza.
Exactly. I mean, one cannot overemphasize how dire the situation in Gaza is. We are almost now 2 years into this conflict, and it continues to get worse. Just a few weeks ago, we saw the UN Commission of Inquiry report presided by Navi Pillay. That report who released that, who stated that Israel has been committing and is committing genocide in Gaza. So I think in that regard, these kind of actions are very important. And however, it's even though they are like, and we have seen like, even though we have seen other accountability efforts, like we have seen, for instance, the South African case before the ICJ, the ICC proceedings, individual states can't now stand down and wait for these institutions to act. We have seen in the most recent weeks that more and more states have been recognizing the state of Palestine. But that kind of recognition and the political weight of such a recognition must now turn into something that helps the people in Gaza, the civilians in Gaza on the ground, where that means sanctions, embargoes, or calling other states that support Israel, calling them out. It just shows that these mere political and diplomatic messages are not sufficient to stop the bombs or replace food or water in Gaza.
Yeah, Dr. Attila Kisler, lead of the International Justice Cluster at the Southern Africa Litigation Center. Thank you for joining us.
EWN Traffic.
26 minutes after 7 o'clock. This Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. Amo?
Well, Clement, we still have got that accident on the M1 North, right near Houghton Drive, delays from Empire Road. While traveling in the east of Joburg, we still have got that accident on the N12 West before the Kirulis interchange. Delays coming out of Craft Road, and the R24 West is also affected. Please be on the lookout there. I'll have more updates coming up shortly. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You could spend 10 minutes on social media or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For his 2024 GWMP series, 54-year-old Amos now pays only 1,004 Rand a month. And for his 2024 Toyota Urban Cruiser, 55-year-old Andre pays just 776 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
EWN Business.
Going up to 28 minutes after 7 o'clock. Ray here with your business update. Ray, there are some moves to boost job creation in the auto sector.
That's right, Clem. We need to see this. You see, Trade Industry and Competition Minister Parks Towell says South Africa has secured commitments from Chinese and Indian car companies to upgrade their semi-knockdown or SKD vehicle assembly operations to full-scale manufacturing in our country. The SKD manufacturing technique involves turning partially assembled kits into finished vehicles, while the CKD puts together cars from parts delivered to the site. On the Money Show last night, I chatted to NAMSA President Billy Tom. He expressed his concerns about new cars coming into the country and not being assembled here. He says we need to concentrate on creating jobs. Towell says the government is in talks with multinational car makers who have South African factories, including Toyota and Ford, and their suppliers on ways to safeguard our industry's future. This as these manufacturers navigate declining production volumes, stiff competition from China, also tariff uncertainty, and the rather expensive shift to electric vehicles. So they want to assemble cars here.
Yeah, so the US shut down. How are the markets reacting to that?
Well, they're just shrugging it off. They're saying it's business as usual. Asian stocks are poised for solid weekly gains as rising odds of the U.S. Federal Reserve cutting rates in the near term help cushion jitters around the U.S. government shutdown. Looking at the U.S. markets, also just shrugging them off. The tech stocks are up today as well. So you can see there they're down slightly up at the close. Now, the shutdown has pushed gold, though, to record highs, also affecting the dollar as well. Looking at the gold price now, $3,853.42. Many traders saying it may even reach the $4,000 level next week. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But gold has been shooting up. Reports say investors have mostly shrugged off this government shutdown, but the metals are also benefiting. Platinum's also been shooting up as well. $1,567.03. That's platinum. Then the rand to the dollar, it seems to be stable. It's kind of been the same the whole week, looking out for a go and what happens there. Rand to the dollar, 17.29. The pound, 23.23. The euro, 20.26. And then Brent crude oil is $64.57 a barrel. I'll have more business news for you in about an hour.
Exactly 7:30, time for the latest in Eyewitness News. Viso, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Joburg Public Safety MMC Mgini Chwaku says law enforcement officials will conduct more drug busts in the city after the discovery of marijuana worth 21 million rand. 2 people were caught on the M2 highway with bales of cannabis and led police to the storage unit in Lindborough Park, where a larger quantity was also found. Chwaku says police are looking into uncovering drug syndicates.
One of the efforts to really nip out this organized crime in the unit. We congratulate the work that has been done by the JMPD TRU. That's our tactical reaction unit that deals with hijackings, that deals with narcotics, that deals with killings and all of that. So congratulations to them. And there are some more busts to really happen.
SASSA has committed to once again resolving the latest delays in the payment of social grants. Some pensioners who tried to access their money yesterday couldn't do so. The agency says the extent of the problem is unclear, but it's committed to keeping beneficiaries updated. SASSA spokesperson Andile Shona says the issue seems to have mainly affected Capitec Bank users.
We would really like to apologize as SASSA to all our beneficiaries who experienced this challenge, and we want to assure them that we are going to get to the bottom of it, and we are hoping that their funds will be released soon.
This pensioner says she was also affected.
This isn't the first time. I got my notification at 12:10 last night. It said my money was in. When I went to Pick n Pay to get my money wasn't there.
Airports Company South Africa says anyone headed to the Cape Town International Airport will benefit from the heightened security measures in a high crime zone on the N2 highway. Access Thabo Pateng was speaking at the launch of the deployment of 44 police and traffic officers near Borchards Quarry yesterday. The area is where a vehicle was hit by a concrete block in July, injuring a motorist. Ntutuzelo Nene reports.
The additional Metro Police and traffic officers will now patrol the section between the airport and Somerset West. AXA's acting regional general manager Thabo Pateng says officers will also be stationed inside the airport.
We will have a lot of travelers this festive season going to and from the airport. Therefore, you want to ensure safety of those people because they use public roads to get to the airport. Also, the misbehavior on these public roads can also happen at the airport as well.
The City of Cape Town says every month it receives at least 500 reports of incidents on its highways, including attacks on motorists and pedestrians. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And in Germany, flights at Munich airport have resumed after they were halted following the sighting of several drones. People stopped drones at the airport or spotted them at the airport yesterday, leading to the closure of both runways for about an hour. German authorities have launched a search to identify the origins of the drones. The move by German authorities is the latest in a string of similar aviation disruptions across Europe. Airports in Denmark, Norway and Poland have recently suspended flights over unidentified drones. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng this Friday. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28.
Bumper-to-bumper traffic on the R24 as well as the N12 West between Edenville Road and the Giluli's interchange. There's also queuing traffic due to another accident reported in Houghton on the M1 North. It's right after Houghton Drive, causing heavy delays.
The top story this hour, Joburg Public Safety MMC Mgini Chwaku says law enforcement officials will conduct more drug busts in the city after the discovery of marijuana worth 21 million rand.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Hollywood Bet Aziz Shege. Be on the Game is back for the new soccer season. Up for grabs is a share of 4 million rand in prizes, including the Toyota Rumion, Corolla Cross, Hilux 2.4 GD6 DC, and a Starlet Cross. To qualify, bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures for your chance to score big. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Light the fire this game day with a winning lineup from Checkers, like Championship Boerewors thick or thin for just $109.99 per kilo. Steakhouse Classic man-sized T-bone steak for only 150 Rand per kilo. And Energade Sports Drink, a 500ml six-pack for $64.99. Save 15 Rand. Light the fires, South Africa, and let Checkers do the rest. Deals valid until this Sunday, only at Checkers.
Would you like to come to the 702 launch of Mendy Winner's new book? Well, Midday Report host Mendy Winner has written a book about the negotiations that took place between political parties after last year's elections, which led to the formation of the Government of National Unity. Her new book is called The Deal. I will be interviewing Mendy about her latest book on my show on Wednesday, the 8th of October at 10 a.m. So if you'd like to be part of the studio audience, maybe you want to visit 702 and watch this interview with Mendy Winner. Very easy. You can just send us an email on contact@702.co.za. That's contact@702.co.za to be part of the studio audience for my interview with Mendy Winner about his new book. Next week on Wednesday at 10 a.m. 702. Let's walk the talk.
702. WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Perhaps what these activists should also be calling for is the release of the hostages that were taken nearly 2 years ago in Israel from their beds, from their place of entertainment. Nobody seems to give a second thought.
Good morning, Clement. I think United Nations should have their own military like NATO, or I don't know. They should have these countries that come together to form part of the United Nations should have kind of like military wing where like situation that is happening like in Gaza, they will use those militaries to assist the Palestine, because at the moment writing a report and saying there's genocide, it doesn't do anything. There's no form of accountability there. That report will not fight Israel. So they need to have these countries, they should come together, put military guys together and defend Gaza, not through sitting in meetings and talking the whole day. Join Pretoria.
Yeah, listen, I mean, even with that, everything else has its own laws. For instance, even NATO, you don't just go as NATO and send your soldiers because there's a country that's behaving untoward towards another country. There's still laws that govern that. And I don't even know if that would actually be the answer. What we are dealing with here is a world that is consistently calling out a country for violating international law, calling out a country for violating even the resolutions of the United Nations, and that country is not listening. It's not even listening to its own greatest ally, the United States. So if they're not even moving on that front, if even the United States, as frustrated as it has been by Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel in some instances, if they themselves are still somehow supporting Israel, then this is Israel's greatest ally. Then what chance does the United Nations and more European countries who are condemning Israel, what chance do they have? Eh?
702. What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance. It's your chance to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. You SMS out to 45142 now and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. Today's answer comes from Wanda, who is calling us from Springs. So, Wanda, what is today's answer? Good morning to you.
Morning, Clement. The answer, 1969, sir.
So 1969 is the answer. Have you recently requested a quote from Outshines?
Yes, sir.
All right, Wanda. Congratulations, brother. Congratulations. You have won yourself 1,000 Rand in cash. All thanks to Outshines and 702. 1969 is the answer. So if you know what's the question, you can be the 7th caller now on 011-883-0702. T's and C's on primemediaplus.com.
EWN Sport.
It's 20 minutes now before 8 o'clock. Anthony Teixeira here for a sports update. It's all about the Rugby Championship, Anthony.
Yeah, good morning, Clement. It is indeed, as the Rugby Championship will be decided this weekend. The Springboks, All Blacks and Wallabies still mathematically all have a chance of winning that title. Saturday morning, the Bledisloe Cup has Australia hosting New Zealand. Then in the afternoon, we turn our attention to the World Champs as they look to retain the title for the first time as they face off against Argentina at Twickenham. Bongani doesn't think they head into the final round as favourites, but rather the Pumas side will be looking for retaliation for last week's 37-point loss in Durban.
We don't really focus on that. We take it day by day, session by session. Once you think you're at the top, you can quickly get humbled. You can never count them out. This weekend, we are expecting a proper retaliation from them.
In cricket, the Proteas women are set to start their World Cup against England this morning. Coming into the tournament, Tasman Brits has been in tremendous form. Just last month, the opener scored a career-high 171 not out. Captain Laura Wolfart hopes the batter can maintain that level.
Tasman has been amazing. Obviously, I think she's scored 300s in a row up to this point. She's just batting with so much freedom at the moment, just really taking on the opposition. It's been great to see how aggressive she is early on in that power play. And yeah, hopefully she's found form at the right time and can continue it throughout the tournament.
First ball expected at 11:30. Yesterday, Bangladesh beat Pakistan by 7 wickets. Switching to football now, Amajita have kept their knockout hopes alive at the Under-20 World Cup. They beat New Caledonia 5-0. Saviwe Magidi at the double. Despite bagging the 3 points, coach Raymond Mdaka felt there was room for improvement.
We'll always appreciate and welcome a win. Much as we technically, as a technical team, we are not happy. I think it's a game that yes, wanted us to win, but we wanted to win with goals, and we're not happy in terms of the tactical discipline of our players.
Bafana squad for the vital World Cup qualifiers against Zimbabwe and Rwanda have been named. There's a sense of familiarity in the 23-man squad, with Ronald Williams set to captain, Ikram Reyners and Tapelo Morena all named as well. While dates for the 2026 WAFCON have been confirmed by FIFA, with it set to take place between 17 March and 3 April next year in Morocco. Banyana set to play the Democratic Republic of Congo in qualifying later this month. While last night's European results saw wins for Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. Meanwhile, Ange Postecoglou became the first permanent manager of Nottingham Forest to lose their opening 6 matches. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
17 minutes before 8 o'clock, this EWN Traffic brought to you by the new Opel Grandland with smart tech and striking design. It's German engineering on a grand scale. Test drive one today at your nearest Opel dealer. Amu, there's a crash on the M1.
That's correct, Clement. It's right near Harton Drive. It's causing heavy traffic volumes. Please be on the lookout there. Harton Drive in itself towards the Mark 1 is heavily backed up coming out of Louis Botha Avenue. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North. In fact, bumper-to-bumper traffic between the Gelderlace interchange towards Modderfontein Road due to roadworks, while heading towards Morningside. More delays along the N3 North approaching the Buccleuch turn off due to more roadworks taking place right after Marlborough Drive. If you're traveling in the city of Tshwane at this particular moment, we've got delays on the N1 South through the Flying Saucer interchange towards Botha Avenue. There's also queuing traffic in Irene along Nelmapius Drive and Main Road. More traffic updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Don't ever settle for great. You know that great feeling after nailing a big presentation? Imagine upgrading that. I'm talking driving home with your car's massage seat, practically high-fiving your bum. Headlights so bright, you feel like the star your boss said you were. Arriving home, making an entrance, grander than your slide transitions. Go grand in the new Opel Grandland, designed and made in Germany. Visit opel.co.za for more.
Opel Grandland.
702.
What's the question?
All right, so what's the question? We already have an answer. 1969 is the answer. We got that earlier on. So if today's answer is 1969, for 2,000 rand in cash thanks to Outsurance, what is the question? Nkuli in Edenvale, good morning.
Good morning, Clemens. How are you?
I'm all right. What's the question if 1969 is the answer?
The question is, in which year was Gwen Stefani born?
Oh, right. And that is the correct answer because it was on this day, back in 1969 in California, that Gwen Stefani was born. She turns 56 today. Nkuli, and you've requested a quote from Outsurance?
Yes, I did.
Well, congratulations to you. You walk away with 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance and 702.
So hard every night and day, and now we get the payback. Trying so hard, saving up the paper, now we get to lay back. Working so hard every night and day, and now we get the payback. The payback. The payback. Champagne kisses, hold me in your lap of luxury. I only wanna fly first class desires. You're my limousine. So elegant the way we ride. Our passion, it just multiplies. There's platinum lightning in the sky. Look, I'm living like a queen. This kind of love is getting expensive. We know how to live, baby. We're luxurious.
You could spend 10 minutes hunting for the TV remote or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. SMS out to 45142. Like 29-year-old Sana, who now pays an incredibly low 796 Rand a month for her 2025 Jatura Dashing. With Outsurance Comprehensive, you get 24/7 roadside assistance in case you break down, run out of petrol, lock your keys in the car, and more. SMS out to 45142. Get used to getting more. After switching, 65-year-old Helena now pays only 398 Rand a month for her 2025 Hyundai Exter. Not an Outsurance client yet? Get a quick and easy quote today. If Outsurance can't beat what you're paying, ask them for 500 Rand. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you have nothing to lose. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
Stamina Grow is a 5-in-1 supplement with amino acids, antioxidants, B vitamins, and other essential vitamins and minerals that help promote energy, well-being, immune defense, and mental vitality. Stamina Grow, 221 years of supporting Mzansi, ranked amongst the top 5 best-performing multivitamin brands in South Africa. Stamina Grow, grow for it.
Checkers Little Shop is back with 46 new minis. Get one free when you swipe and spend 200 Rand on deals like Huggies Gold Jumbo Pack or Extra Care nappies or pants, any 2 for 200 Rand per pack. And Energade Sports Drink, a 500ml 6-pack, any for 64.99. Plus, stand to win a trip to Legoland Dubai. Simply buy any 3 participating products and swipe your extra savings card to enter. Valid until Sunday at Checkers. T's and C's apply.
Mzansi, Powerball is bringing the thrill with a jaw-dropping 110 million Rand estimated jackpot this Friday. Don't delay. Play Powerball for an estimated 110 million Rand jackpot today and step closer to a world of endless possibilities. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old and play responsibly. E2 is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
It's going up to 10 minutes before 8 o'clock. Kabazela, good morning.
Good morning, Madimecha. You well?
I'm good. It's a Friday, so can't complain. Tell us about this man who you could tell, watching the video that his ego was bruised there. He looked so defeated and embarrassed. In fact, he looked irritated.
He did. Yeah, he was like, "What are you doing? I've got this under control." And I mean, I think if we're all honest as men, sometimes our egos get bruised, and we must just take it on the chin and say, well done, and laugh it off. There's nothing wrong with it, right? So the video we're talking about is at a motocross event, and it's young boys that are on their bikes. And this one particular kid's bike just stalled in the middle of the track. And there's this gentleman who is now trying to kickstart this motorbike to get it going again. And he is kicking it and kicking it and kicking it and struggling and struggling and struggling. But the youngster's mom sees what's happening from the stands. She runs down the stands, gets onto the track, and she runs and she runs and she runs through the mud. And she gets there and she takes complete control. She lifts the bike onto its front wheel and holds it there for a bit, then puts it back down and gets onto the bike and kickstarts it maybe 3 times, and ding, 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 ding. The bike is ready to go, and the kid jumps on and off he rides. And this man is just left staring, and he's like, what just happened? And then she runs back off to the stands, and he hated it. He really, really hated it.
And it doesn't help that you had people as well on the stands that were cheering this mom. So this guy has been struggling to get this right, and this mom gets there literally within 6 seconds or so. She sorted it out. Oh.
Yeah. She sorted it out, easy peasy, and probably has done it many, many times before, being a bike mom. So what we want to ask our 702 family this morning, Clem, is let's be honest as men. Let's talk about those bruised ego moments from your significant other, where you are trying to sort something out, and you're battling. It's a struggle. And then the missus comes along and says, why don't you do this? Or let's try this. And boom, it works like a charm. I've had many moments with my missus. One comes to mind. I was trying to put up the brackets for the TV on the wall. And now I'm trying to measure this and do that. And I'm getting all lost and confused in my head. While she's sitting on the couch watching this, and I'm like acting all macho. Then she gets up and she says, no, let's do this. And now I'm thinking, why didn't I think of that from the start? And the ego was bruised. But then I said to her, brilliant. You just do all the DIY from now on.
Yeah.
So, that's my story.
Okay. Give us a call. Send us a WhatsApp voice note to share your own story. When was it when your ego was bruised, but you had a good laugh about it? I know I've got, I don't know if my ego was bruised, Kabazela, but I'm bad with doing stuff at home, like changing light bulbs. I do have female friends who have come and said, let me just get over, let me do this. And I'm like, listen, if you can do it, great. Or there was a time I didn't know how to use the oven in this house I've been living in for a while. And there's always going to be a female that comes to the rescue. What's your story? Send us a WhatsApp voice note or give us a call right now. And then the second story is about this woman who's giving advice for applying cologne. What's she saying?
Cologne or perfume. And there's nothing nicer when somebody walks into a room and they've got a nice smelling cologne or perfume. But as long as it doesn't overpower and then you start to get a headache from it because they haven't done a couple of squirts, they've done half the bottle, essentially. So this woman has got some advice for those of us who apply too much perfume or too much cologne. Let's take a listen to her advice, shall we?
A friendly tip to cologne wearers. Psh, psh, psh. It's good. Psh, 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 psh. Psh, 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 psh. Psh, psh. It's probably too much.
She says probably.
Probably too much, and I agree. But it's nice to smell. It's nice to smell really good, and especially if you've got a really nice smelling cologne or perfume, right? So let's ask the question this morning, because sometimes you can apply a cologne, and you think, oh, well, nobody's smelling it, so what's the point, And then you go overboard, and then you just kill everybody with the smell. But what's your tips or secrets to applying your cologne or perfume so that it smells really nice, just right, and you get compliments, and nobody, when you walk into the room and they're like, who put the whole bottle on this morning? So I'd love to hear that as well this morning, Clem.
Looking forward to those stories. What's your technique to applying cologne and perfume so that you smell great and you don't overwhelm us with the smell. Remember back in high school, Amu, we had teachers, we would be sitting in class, Memma Sanabo is passing there 400 meters from us and you can smell. And it used to be a big thing. Teachers were proud of that.
And even if you walk into their where they sat as teachers, you could almost smell that there's Mem Masanabo in this ring.
Yeah.
This one, just by the smell.
Yeah, no. Someone once said to me, the best advice I got was, if they can smell it as you enter the room, you didn't apply it properly. The only time you must smell someone's cologne is when you get closer to them. Whether you're giving them a hug or you're standing or sitting closer to them. Otherwise, you have not done it well. I was actually in an Uber in Cape Town yesterday, and the Uber driver, as I walked in, said, "What cologne are you wearing?" And I hated that because I thought, damn, I got it wrong this time. You shouldn't. You're sitting right there in front. All right, we're going to take your calls and your WhatsApps on that. Please keep them coming. Kabazela, thank you.
EWN Traffic.
This Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. Amu, how are we looking?
Well, we still have got those roadworks taking place in the Kelvin area between the Vincent Chabalala Road exit and Baklu interchange, and they are still causing heavy traffic volumes while traveling along the R24 as well as the N12 West. Bumper-to-bumper delays between Craft Road and the Kilulis interchange due to an earlier accident. There's also some issues reported on the N1 North approaching the Deep Kloof interchange. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
52-year-old Janine turned her car insurance premium into a win. Not a worry. With Outsurance, she now pays only 561 Rand a month for her 2024 Kia Picanto. And with just one call, Outsurance got 29-year-old Atsana on track with a premium of just 796 Rand a month for her 2025 Jetor Dashing. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? Well, SMS out to 45142 today. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed, insured, and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
702. Feedback with Baphelile Sambo.
How are you doing, Baphelile?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good.
Clement?
What have you got for us?
So for our feedback today, we did manage to get in touch with the Gauteng Department of Health about the late CEO of Tembisa Hospital. That was Dr. Ashley Mtunzi. He sadly passed away last year on Tuesday, 23 April. There's been a lot of attention surrounding his name. This is because his wife, Lerato Mtunzi, who is also the spokesperson for the Independent Health and Allied Workers Union, said that her husband is being or used unfairly as a scapegoat in the 2 billion rand corruption scandal at Tembisa Hospital. So according to her, politicians and criminals who were truly involved in stealing public money are trying to hide behind her husband's name. But we do know that the Special Investigating Unit released an interim report which says that Dr. Mtunzi approved contracts for companies that didn't meet requirements. He did send purchases with orders that had irregular certificates and allowed inflated pricing. And Lerato is saying that she plans to challenge these findings in court, hence why everybody was thinking that it has something to do with
what's happening now at the Mazanga Commission. I don't know if this was the same CEO I interviewed, but I remember about 3 years ago, there was a big story at the Tembisa Hospital. I suspect it was when he was still CEO, where they ordered skinny jeans.
Ooh.
What do you order skinny jeans for a hospital for? I mean, really? Are the nurses wearing skinny jeans? If anything, it's the opposite of flexibility. And I remember he couldn't explain that. And I must check if it was him, because Tembisa also has had so many CEOs in a short space of time. All right, what else?
We will continue monitoring this, and we hope to get developments and get Lerato. We did reach out to her. She hasn't given us a response yet, but we'll keep trying. And hopefully, if she does come through, we'll get her on the line.
Okay, perfect. We're going to be taking calls, of course, and WhatsApp voice notes after the news at 8 o'clock. You can respond to any of the conversations we've been having this morning on 702 Breakfast. Kabazela has asked you about your ego. Has it ever been bruised? Because, you know, there's some fragile egos out there. How did you deal with that? But also, any techniques to applying cologne and perfume so that you smell great, but you don't overwhelm people? Or are there abo memma sanabo out there who are on the way to the office, and as you while you're still in the lift on the 5th floor, they know that you are on the way. Hey, give us a call or send us a WhatsApp voice note. It's 8 o'clock, time for Eyewitness News. And this Eyewitness News is brought to you by Bathroom Bazaar, pulling the plug on high prices.
This is EWN.
Many parts of the world call for the release of activists detained by Israel, and preparations to return Natim Tetwa's body home are at final stages. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. A growing number of countries continue to express concern after Israel detained activists, including South Africans, on board vessels carrying aid to Gaza. The Israeli Navy intercepted the Flotilla this week off the Gaza coast in international waters, and it has been criticized of policing the area without having any jurisdictions there. Protests have escalated in many parts of the world, including in London, with people calling for the release of the activists.
The attack against the Flotilla, Sumud, it was a barbaric escalation from the Israel apartheid state. They don't want even to open a passage for humanitarian help to Gaza.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has joined world leaders who've described Israel's monitoring of the international waters as a continued violation of international law. The president's spokesperson, Vincent Magwenya.
On behalf of the government and the nation, President Ramaphosa calls on Israel to immediately release the South Africans abducted in international waters and to release other nationals who have tried to reach Gaza with humanitarian aid.
Colombian President Gustavo Petro has expelled all remaining Israeli diplomats from the country in response, and he's denounced the interception as an international crime by Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Meanwhile, lead of the International Justice Cluster at the Southern Africa Litigation Center, Attila Kissler, says the situation has to be looked at in its entirety.
We have to look at it in the context of what's happening on the ground in Gaza, of course. That starts with the unlawful occupation as confirmed by the International Court of Justice in its advisory opinion last year. But we also have to look at it in the context of the ongoing genocide, the famine, and the starvation of civilians in Gaza.
The Phala Phala burglary trial resumes today, with the state hoping to turn the tide after some challenges. Emanuela David and siblings Froliana and Ndilinasho Joseph are charged with breaking and entering into President Cyril Ramaphosa's farm and making off with $580,000 in cash. The money belonged to a Sudanese businessman who intended to purchase buffaloes from the president's farm. The trial is being heard at the Modimolle Regional Court in Limpopo. Tabiso Koba is there.
So far, the state has called 5 witnesses. However, none of them has testified to seeing any of the 3 accused with the stolen US dollars. 2 of the state's key witnesses gave oral testimony that is different from the statements previously submitted to police. One of the witnesses is a driver who initially told police he was paid $30,000 by accused number 1, Emanuela David, to transport him from Limpopo to Gauteng. However, in court, the driver testified he never transported David and was actually paid in rands, 7,000 rand. Today, the state is expected to introduce a new witness. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
The International Relations Department has promised that Natim Tetwa's family that the process of repatriating the ambassador's body is underway. The South African ambassador to France and Monaco died in Paris earlier this week. His death is subject to investigations, with an autopsy report said to be completed soon. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
After having formally communicated the news of Ambassador Natim Tetwa's passing, the Department of International Relations says the family will have their son's body to bury. The department's Deputy Minister, Elvin Porthos.
We, with the family, have agreed on 2 important issues. Bring Ambassador Natim Tetwa home, give him a dignified, honorable tribute to his life, and thereafter dissect the outcomes of the final investigation report.
Porthos also thanked the Mtetwa family for their son's dedication and commitment, saying his titles abroad spoke volumes about him.
That demonstrated the level of trust that the President Ramaphosa have actually deposited into the persona of Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa.
Mourners are said to visit the Mthethwa home to comfort the grieving family. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Kwambonambi.
And the budget shutdown in the US has caused its officials to be a no-show at the final G20 meeting of parliamentarians in the Western Cape. After Parliament initially confirmed 4 representatives would attend the 2-day event, EWN understands they had to withdraw after a funding fight in Washington effectively shut down the government there. Parliament's presiding officers say the final declaration will instead be sent through diplomatic channels to next year's G20 hosts. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
National Assembly Speaker Toko Didiza closed this week's P20 summit, saying it had been both a vibrant space for dialogue, but also for fruitful bilateral meetings on the sidelines. But the closing session was dimmed by the absence of US officials who were expected to receive the final declaration. In the main, the US has not sent its top officials to South Africa's G20 events this year over political tensions between the two countries since President Donald Trump assumed office. Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Refilwe Mtshweni Tsipani, explained the US's absence.
We were expecting 4 delegates from the US. However, due to the shutdown, they were unable to attend.
In its final declaration, the P20 recognizes the importance of upholding multilateralism, resisting protectionism, and promoting global cooperation in addressing multidimensional crises. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Claremont.
Gold is trading at $3,845.05 an ounce. The rand is at 17.29 to the dollar, 23.24 to the pound, 20.27 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $64.50 a barrel.
And in the traffic in Sandton, we've got delays along Greyston Drive between the M1 and Rivonia Road. There's also queuing traffic in Sharonlee on Malibongwe Drive towards the N1.
In your sport, the Proteas women will begin the weekend's action as they face off against England in their World Cup opener this morning, while the Rugby Championship is set to be decided tomorrow with the Springboks heading into the final round a point clear of their rivals, while the Carling Knockout Cup awaits.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. A growing number of countries continue to express concern after Israel detained activists, including South Africans, on board vessels carrying aid to Gaza.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
For mind-blowing bathroom specials, come to Bathroom Bazaar. Shower yourself with a little love with a Bathroom Bazaar shower promotion and get 15% off all shower enclosures. That's right, 15% off all shower doors and screens while stocks last. That's Pizarre. Bathroom Bazaar, pulling the plug on high prices.
702 on 92.7 and 106 FM.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And on DSTV channel 856.
8 minutes after 8 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of 702 Breakfast. Clement Manyatela here in for Bongani Bingwa, who is busy nursing his lip. Amo, is it the upper or lower lip?
It's the upper lip.
Oh, the upper lip. He's busy. He's nursing his upper lip. What's wrong with it?
Allergic reaction.
Allergic reaction, right? He should be back. Get rested, Bongos, so that you're back on the show on Monday morning. We're taking your calls now and your WhatsApp voice notes, reacting to whatever we've been discussing on the show today. Kabazela asked us 2 funny but important questions. 1, have you had your ego bruised? How did you deal with that? And also the question around cologne. How do you apply your cologne? Do you have a specific technique? Are you that type of a person who just applies lots and lots and lots of cologne and you just overwhelm everyone? Do you like it like that?
Good day, Clement and the team. My method of applying perfume is to dab my inner neck and just my hands, and the only person that will smell me someone that comes close to me.
That's it.
Close enough when they are hugging me. I want the smell to be just for me, and it's not an advertisement of anything. Thank you. It's Yolisa in the middle.
Morning, 702 and Clems. For me to apply perfume, nothing under 100 sprays. If you want those compliments, make sure you put on 100 sprays and you will get those compliments in the gym, when you go out, at the local coffee shop. Nothing under 100 sprays. Thanks.
Morning, Clement and team. My little tip, or the way I put a cologne or perfume on, is I spray a little bit in the air and stand underneath that spray. And then it just settles sort of all over and it's not too much. Sarah from How to Be a Sport.
Guys, Elizabeth Arden Red Door perfume and my teachers. That used to kill me. Oh, I hate Elizabeth Arden Red Door. You could smell it from a mile, and all my teachers used to wear it. I absolutely hate it.
Good morning, Clement. Nice show as usual. I mean, there are certain colognes, even if you spray twice, like 4 or fufu or whatever, it always, like, the cologne is too loud. So there's no way the people around you doesn't smell your cologne. Doesn't matter how you put it, even if you, yeah, but it depends on the brand. Thank you.
Morning, guys. Lucretia here. I have got a very good tip for any lady that wears Angel. Spray one, spray into the air away from you, and then the rest of the bottle you throw into the dustbin. Because, boy, people that wear Angel tend to do the
Angel, and then it was Elizabeth Ardens, and now it's Angel. You know, the worst part about teachers back in the day was they used to love like this cologne that smells a lot, right? And from afar, to a point that they used to share. Like, I remember my mom, who was a teacher, would say, "Oh, Mem Mamang has this cologne," and now she wants it. Because somehow when they were sitting in the staff room, or whatever they used to call it, Mem, whoever walked in and smelled so good, and they could smell her from 300 meters away. So now everybody wants it. And that's why that Elizabeth, who doesn't remember a teacher who used to wear that? So it's quite hectic.
All the teachers used to use the same scent.
Oh, it used to be like, what are we doing here?
But I like sweet scents. It doesn't matter how loud it is, as long as it's nice and sweet. And it says to me that the person is clean, you know. And yeah, so I want to
So are you at
smell
S or are you at S?
I'm at S.
Yeah, I haven't really smelled too much of cologne from you.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's in the morning. It must be easy for us to do that. And for you, Razor?
No, do you guys remember Brute?
Yes, it's still around.
Is it? Okay, I think they changed their formula. But I remember being at school and somebody used Brute.
Yeah.
And you could clear a classroom. It was amazing.
Yeah, but Brute, I remember it used to smell like something else when I was growing up.
But it doesn't smell
at the time.
nice.
But I think they've changed the scent now.
Yeah, they have,
Razor.
yeah.
But I mean, there was one that I was like, I don't know, like, yeah, are we chasing cockroaches away or what? 13 minutes after 8.
EWN Traffic.
All right, Amuramela, what's happening on the roads?
Well, Clement, that accident we spoke about earlier on the N12 West, right near the Kiluli's turnoff, has been cleared, but traffic remains a bit slow coming out of Edenville Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North between Modderfontein Road and the Baklu interchange. That's due to roadworks there. There's also queuing traffic in four ways along Winnie Mandela Drive just as you approach Leslie Avenue. And then in the city of Tshwane, some issues on the N1 South approaching John Forster Drive. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
14 minutes after 8 o'clock, the G20 correspondence desk on 702 is proudly brought to you by RMB and FNB, divisions of First Rand Bank Limited. So South Africa's G20 presidency this year marks a pivotal moment for the continent. Since 1999, South Africa has been the only African country really in the G20, uniquely positioned to spotlight Africa's priorities on the global stage. So FirstRand, through its divisions RMB and FNB, is a platform sponsor of South Africa's G20 presidency. A key focus area is trade and investment, with FirstRand CEO Mary Vilakazi serving as co-chairperson of the B20 task force. The presidency provides South Africa with the opportunity to attract foreign direct investment, benefiting both the country and the continent as a whole. So to chat more about this, we're joined by Nina Piri, who's the head of corporate client group at RMB, joins us now in studio. Nina, thank you so much for coming through and good morning.
Thanks, Clement. My name is Nana.
Nana. Apologies there, Nana.
No worries.
Good
morning, everyone.
Yeah, let's look at trade and investment. I mean, this is quite critical for South Africa's G20 presidency, isn't it?
Very critical. And why is trade and investment so critical, you would ask, for the topic for the G20? Firstly, because it drives economic growth. South Africa is constrained with low growth, high unemployment, and fiscal pressures, as we know. And focusing on trade and investment allows South Africa to actually attract foreign direct investment into the country, such as multinational companies focusing more on South Africa and coming into South Africa to inject capital, to inject skills, and just really be part of the economy. The other piece is that trade and investment, it also creates jobs as part of the multinationals. When they come and want to build a business here in South Africa, they employ people, and that narrows the unemployment that we currently have as a crisis in the country. So very, very key. The other piece is around industrialization. The minister recently, when the B20 were handing over recommendations to Minister of Durko, and he actually highlighted that, from a South Africa perspective, the intention is to move towards industrialization where, we stop exporting only the raw materials, but export high value and goods and services. And that is a key form of the industrialization focus that South Africa has been on the G20's presidency.
So how important is it to have policy certainty, in as far as wanting to attract this foreign direct investment? How important is that?
Policy certainty is very important, and it's a competitive advantage. I think when you look at a trade and investment, you're competing across the environment, from developed to developing market. And if your trade policy is not stable and consistent, and it sends a signal to investors that the environment that you are producing is not a stable environment to actually invest in. And capital attracts, capital loves certainty. So if you want to attract foreign capital into the country and grow the country from an economic perspective, you need certainty.
Yeah. What key reforms or policy shifts are we seeing? What some of those are being made to try and unlock and advance the FDI in the country?
So there are a couple. I think I'll mention, one of the various ones that are close to our hearts is really around fairer credit ratings for developing countries such as South Africa. South Africa has really been championing the African agenda, showcasing that from an African perspective, we actually can lead the next frontier of a more growth perspective. And they've been championing things like cost of capital, so that's to fund infrastructure, so that our economies can actually be good economies with infrastructure spend. That's one of the key ones. And also just around inclusive global trade rules, so that the global trade rules can actually be more inclusive for developing countries and focus more on just inclusive and sustainable industrialization from a reform perspective.
Yeah, and are there any benefits and risks of inflation targeting in the context of FDI? What should we be aware of?
So, Clement, as you know, there's been a big debate in our economy around, the SARB had indicated that they want to reduce, the band that they focus on. I think the current band is 3 to 6%. And the focus now is maybe they should target on the lower end, 2 to 3%. And there's been a bit of debate around, why would the SARB be looking at this? And we think it's a really good thing because I think we've seen with what happened with Chile, with Mexico and Poland, when they actually lowered their band, and it increases monetary policy certainty. And like I said, capital, especially foreign capital, gets attracted to certainty. And lowering the inflation band means, lower inflation, which then reduces exchange rate volatility and signals, obviously, credibility, which I've mentioned, and reassures our foreign investors that, the currency stability is one that they can actually back in, and they can invest here with, steady returns that are not going to be reduced by currency, unstable currency, for example.
Yeah. Well, Nana Piri, thank you so much for speaking to us, Head of Corporate Client Group at RMB. Really appreciate your time. Now, hosted in Africa for the first time, this year's G20 Summit focuses on solidarity, equality, and sustainability, bringing you news and insights from the summit. Tune into the G20 Correspondent's Desk, brought to you by RMB and FNB, proud sponsors of this year's G20 Summit. Guided by the spirit of Ubuntu, RMB and FNB empower communities. They are committed to a sustainable future and are deeply invested in humanity. RMB and FNB are divisions of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
702, The World View.
With Adam Gilchrist.
Adam, good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Tell us about this terrorist attack on a synagogue in Manchester.
Yeah, it felt like a bolt from the blue, though others are suggesting that such has been the rise in anti-Semitism in the UK and other countries too, that maybe this was always going to happen, which is a shuddery thought. But we know 2 people have been killed and 4 others are in a very bad way, seriously injured in hospital, after this suspect rammed a car into people standing outside the synagogue at Heaton Park in Manchester, and then jumped out with a knife and started stabbing people. Police were pretty quick to arrive, as in armed police. They were there within 7 minutes and shot him dead. They didn't approach the body at first because he'd told people in the act of stabbing that he had a bomb, a suicide vest. It turned out not to be so. It was a dummy, as it were. But they had to carry out an explosion nonetheless. And of course, all this happening on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. Therefore, synagogues are busy. There are people standing around. He did it advisedly, one would think. And we also know now that the perpetrator was a British citizen who had come to this country from Syria as a boy. So you can't possibly blame any kind of outside influences. He, like the 7/7 bombers in London, he was a homegrown product, whether we like it or not. And therefore, I hope that no opposition politicians will make political capital out of him being technically from Syria. We shall see. At the same time, there are now huge security measures and extra measures being put in place in synagogues and other Jewish institutions. And the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, whose wife is Jewish and who practices the Jewish faith through her, he has absolutely talked about making people feel safe. And amen to that. Don't we all want that in our countries?
Yeah. And then in the US, this government shutdown, there's some jobs at risk.
Oh boy, yeah. And seemingly deliberately so. Donald Trump has said that a prolonged shutdown could present him with an opportunity to make irreversible cuts, as he put it, to clear out the dead wood, the waste, and the fraud. The fraud. If you were a government worker in America right now who's been forced to go home or who's working for nothing, which is also the case, air traffic controllers, I believe, are federal employees. You don't really want them to be too upset about life, do you? But the idea that, yes, I mean, government departments have inefficiencies. Yours do, mine do, ours do, America's do, I'm sure. But creating out of this a wave of mass redundancies, and they've already had those thanks to Elon Musk, it will create a very uneasy feeling amongst hundreds of thousands of American government workers. And indeed, just one example of how this has already impacted locally is that Donald Trump has pulled the plug on $18 billion worth of investment in infrastructure projects in New York, partly because the 2 Senate and House leaders of the Democrat Party are based in New York. It might be Donald Trump's home city, but and all this with the government shutdown. You remember the president last time there was a US government shutdown? It was Donald Trump last time.
Yeah,
Here we go
tells you
again.
a lot, right? And then let's wrap up with this story about what a story. I've just found it so fascinating. The Kingdom of Kubala, this African quote-unquote tribe that's been evicted in Scotland.
It's a small tribe. Yes, they've been evicted from the land, from council-owned land, which of course is the rub, isn't it? A guy from Ghana who's called himself King Atahihi, a woman from Zimbabwe calls herself Queen Nandi, and a third person, Cora Taylor from Texas, who is their handmaiden. If you were setting up a kingdom or a commune or whatever, I mean, who's going to go, Bagsy, I'm the handmaiden? You kind of think she could have at least been a princess. Anyway, the three of them have formed the Kingdom of Kubala on land they say was stolen from them 400 years ago on the Scottish borders, just sort of north of England. They have 100,000 followers on TikTok and Facebook, so they've got a bit of weight behind them. But otherwise, it's just the three of them. And the one thing you can't do if you're establishing a kingdom or a commune or a sect or whatever is to do it on council-owned land, because they will turf you off. But imagine the notion, though, of an African colony in Scotland. I mean, it's as crazy as, say, a British colony in Africa, isn't it? Just daft.
Yeah. This has just been fascinating to watch. Adam Goldcrest, thank you very much for all those stories in the World Report.
EWN Business.
26 minutes after 8 o'clock. Ray White here with your business update. Ray, a new central transformation fund has been proposed.
Look, it's been on the cards for a while now. An interesting story in the Business Day, though. It says the government is weighing a voluntary 3% revenue levy on unlisted companies to feed a central transformation fund. This could see 40 billion rand or more a year in new capital for black-owned small businesses. If you pay the levy, you'll see an expedited route to high broad-based BEE status. Well, Business Day says that under this proposal, non-listed companies will pay 3% of the gross revenue into a centrally administered transformation fund. But I must stress it is voluntary. The proposal routes collections through the SA Revenue Service. Apparently a media conference is set for later on today.
All right, and then there'll probably be more clarity on that. Stock markets, how have they been responding to this US shutdown?
Wall Street's three major indices have marked modest gains, largely thanks to support from the tech sector. This as investors cautiously monitored private labor market data on the next day of the US government shutdown. The benchmark Dow Jones rose very slightly, while the Nasdaq was up 0.4%, the biggest gainer overnight. This was with the help from heavyweight tech companies, including AI chip leader Nvidia, Apple, and Broadcom. Asian stocks are also poised for solid gains over the week, as rising odds of the US Federal Reserve cutting rates in the near term help cushion jitters around the US government shutdown. Looking at our very own markets at the moment, and yesterday the oil share closing down about 0.5%, and you can see what's happening globally. Traders are just saying, Clem, they're just saying we're getting on with what we are doing. We've decided that this is a Donald Trump thing. It's happened 15 times since 1980. As you heard with Adam, now the last time was with Donald Trump, and they say we have to make a living and we are pushing on. They just need those jobs data figures to come out. Then we'll have a look at the US Fed, whether they're going to be increasing rates or not.
How's the rand?
At the moment, the rand is 17.30. That's to the US dollar. The pound is 23.25. The euro is 20.28. Platinum has been climbing this week. It's down a little bit now, $1,569.10. But gold is the big story at the moment, $3,858.59. And gold has continued to climb over the past few weeks, but it has put a bit of petrol on the dial at the moment because of what's happening in the United States, and many traders saying that perhaps next week we are going to be seeing something where the gold price does shoot through the 4,000 level. Sibanye gold, though, down yesterday by 5%. So a lot of the gold producers have been benefiting from this. They've seen themselves rise and rise and rise. But at the moment, the gold price set to increase just a little bit more, $3,858.59. So let's see what happens on Monday and, of course, throughout today. Ray White, EWN Business.
That takes us to 8:30, time for the latest in Eyewitness News. Lisa, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis says a tender fraud investigation related to a 1.6 billion rand construction contract has nothing to do with alleged gang boss Ralph Stenfield and his wife Nicole Johnson. Earlier this week, the police conducted a search and seizure operation at 26 addresses across Cape Town. The raids were prompted by information from a whistleblower and investigations by both the City of Cape Town and the SAPS. Charges against Stenfield, Johnson and former MACO member for Human Settlements Malusi Boy related to a 1 billion rand city housing construction contract were provisionally withdrawn recently. Hill-Lewis has denied that Stenfield and Johnson's involvement in the city's latest tender fraud debacle.
No, they are not related. This is an entirely different matter.
Joburg Public Safety MMC Mgcini Chwaku says law enforcement officials will conduct more drug busts in the city after the
work that has been done by the JMPD TRU. That's our tactical reaction unit that deals with hijackings, that deals with narcotics, that deals with killings and all of that. So congratulations to them, and there are some more busts to really happen.
And Airports Company South Africa says the deployment of additional security on a dangerous section of the N2 highway in Cape Town from the airport to Somerset West will help enhance safety. In July, a concrete block struck a vehicle near Borchards Quarry and a woman travelling with her husband from Somerset West to the airport was left wounded. 44 additional Metro Police and traffic officers will now patrol the section known as the hotspots for crime. Ntutuzelo Nene reports.
The City Safety and Security MMC JP Smith says the newly deployed officers will also have drone assistance to police any criminal activity on this dangerous part of the N2 highway. Smith says they are also noticing a shift in criminality to other city highways.
The freeway safety plan covers all the main freeways and several of them have hotspots that we have to deal with. That hotspot, for instance, recently started including the N1 closer to Cape Town with the people on the Transnet and Prasa Road Reserve who started also to engage in these attacks on motorists.
He says the additional deployment will help increase the frequency and presence on these roads. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And a man who killed Cambodia's ex-member of parliament has been sentenced to life in prison. In January this year, former opposition lawmaker Lim Kimia was shot dead as he was visiting his wife in Bangkok. Ikalak Penayo was arrested in neighboring Cambodia a day after the shooting and confessed to committing the murder in a live stream video. The trial began 3 days ago with the cross-examination of witnesses, including Kimia's widow, Annie Marie Lim. The judge says Penayo caused harm to Lim. A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28.
And in the traffic, we've got bumper-to-bumper delays on the M2 West between Heidelberg Road and the Crown Interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North between the Modderfontein Road and the Baku Interchange due to roadworks.
The top story this hour, Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis says a tender fraud investigation related to a 1.6 billion rand construction contract has nothing to do with alleged gang boss Ralph Stenfield and his wife Nicole Johnson.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays
12 to 1.
What were your thoughts listening to the SIU report?
It's quite a head also shivering, and I think largely because you are seeing a manifestation of greed, a manifestation of insensibility. I think without wanting to decorate it anyhow, I think it's a crime against the humanity, and I think that's how one would essentially describe it.
Advocate Ezra Letwalo, Gauteng Health Portfolio Chairperson.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Fellow taxpayers, make tax matters a #1 priority by submitting your personal income tax return by the 20th of October 2025 deadline. Once your tax return is submitted, you'll receive a notice of assessment stipulating if there's any tax-assessed debt due to SARS or not. Should you owe, it's crucial to settle tax obligations on time to avoid any penalties or interest charges. SARS, at your service.
This master doesn't just start, it wakes up. Anticipation. The wheel settles into your hands. Seat and mirrors adjust. You didn't ask, it just knew. Then the 3.3-liter turbo diesel clears its throat. And suddenly, you're flying, weaving through sunlight. Goosebumps on your commute. The feeling will find you in the Mazda CX-60. Wonder awaits.
This ad just got your attention. Imagine what Prime Media could do for your business.
As South Africa's leading media company, Prime Media connects you to the best audiences across radio, digital audio, video, and display. And now, at the Prime Impact Sales Event, you can experience it firsthand.
Happening in Joburg, 3 to 7 November, and Cape Town, 10 to 13 November. Register and get a free demo commercial.
Plus, a custom campaign and access to an exclusive annual partnership.
Seats are limited.
Register today at primeimpact.co.za.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Automobile organization NAMSA, you've been looking at these figures. What's driving the surge in new car sales?
The affordable segment is growing 30.2%, and that segment is mainly a lot of the Chinese and Indian imported vehicles, and the Chinese alone have shown a growth year to date of 69%.
Lily Tom, president of NAMSA.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show is brought to you by ABSA, proud sponsor of South African Auto Week 2025. Your partner in growth, powering a sustainable future together. ABSA is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply. 702.
WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Good morning, Clement and the team. Happy Friday. Look, man, on the issue of colognes, I do a simple single psst. I don't want to do the psst, psst. Why? Because colognes are quite expensive, man. I mean, in this economy, you don't want to waste your signature cologne. So I'll spray on a shirt, of which I wear a shirt with a vest, of course, on Monday. Then I'll hang it, then I'll repeat it on Thursday. Just to save it, man. I used to go, then I still get the same reaction. Now, single, and I'm good. Marshall and Fourways.
Good morning, Clement and Tim. Oh, Ray, I use Brood due to my 3 brothers. I liked it. I can't remember which one used it, but that was a long time ago. I ended up buying a Brood roll-on because I liked the smell, even if it's a men's roll-on perfume. Yeah. Thanks, Dima.
Good morning, Clement. There was this cologne. I'm not sure if it's a cologne or what. They called it Follow Me. It was.
I remember.
We used to use it while we were still in middle school. Yo, that one, yes. It was so terrible. You know, it was smelling the whole day, the whole week, and yo. Yes, it was just terrible. Follow Me.
Yeah.
During our middle school days. Oh, Willie Orange Grove.
Yeah, Willie. Yeah, you're taking us back there. Who remembers Follow Me? Eh? That was quite a thing. And again, I think we are evolving as a people. So we're learning also more and more how to, the new techniques of how to apply cologne. Because back in the day, we were socialized to think you've got to and not just once. So now we know that that's not really how it's supposed to flow. So hey, we learn as we grow and as we evolve, don't we? It's 20 minutes now before 9.
EWN Sport.
Anthony Teixeira here with your last sports update on 702 Breakfast. Then it's the Proteas women battling it up against England.
Yeah, good morning, Clement. That is true. The World Cup will see the Proteas women begin their campaign. They get it up and running against a foe that they have struggled against. Only one win of their last 9 matches. They've picked up a win. Captain Laura Wolfhard, though, says she's amped for the game.
England are a very strong side, but we really enjoy playing against them in World Cups. I think they've beaten us in the semi-final of the last 2 editions of this tournament, so I think we'd be really keen to looking to get a good start against them. I think being able to beat a team like that early on really sets a tone for the competition.
The match set to start at 11:30 this morning, while the Rugby Championship will be decided Saturday, with the Springboks heading into the final round with a point lead over their rivals. The All Blacks are set to face the Wallabies Saturday morning, with both sides hoping that the Boks lose in order for their chances to take the title to grow. Meanwhile, the World Champs will Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. take on Argentina, knowing a victory there with the bonus point will secure the title and the first time back-to-back champions. Bongani Bingwa
to go out there and execute the plan.
Well, the rugby weekend will start this evening with the second round of the United Rugby Championship, as the Stormers hosting Ospreys and the Sharks continuing their European tour against the Dragons. It's the opening weekend of the Carling Knockout Cup in football, with it all starting this evening as Durban City play Polokwane City. Other selected fixtures will see Orlando Pirates against Siwelele, Mamelodi Sundowns meet Marimo Gallants, and we have Stellenbosch hosting Kaizer Chiefs. Or the Premier League's headline fixture has Chelsea taking on log leaders Liverpool Saturday evening. In netball, the Spar Proteas will be playing their world champs Australia in the first of 3 tests Saturday morning, while in motorsport, F1 is in Singapore and the MotoGP is in Indonesia. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
19 minutes before 9 o'clock. Amoramela, what are you seeing on the roads?
Well, Clement, some of the delays have eased up a bit on our roads, but we still have got those delays on the N3 North between Marlborough Drive and the Baklu interchange, and that's due to those roadworks that are taking place right near the Baklu turn off, so please be on the lookout there. There's also queuing traffic, in fact a bit of a stop and go on the N12 West between the Edenville Road exit and the Bagilulis interchange. While travelling towards the Crown turn off, do expect delays between the Heidelberg Road exit and the Crown interchange. I will have more updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Before a masterpiece takes shape, there's a single line that starts it all, until every curve and every angle reflects the clarity of a single vision. And only then does inspiration take its final form. The all-new Audi A5, designed to inspire. Starting from $14,499 per month with a guaranteed future value. Visit audi.co.za or your nearest dealer for more. T's and C's apply.
Dis-Chem has the best deals just for you, with everything you need on your healthy living journey. Buy 3, get the cheapest free on the Future Life range for nutrient-rich meals for the whole family. Get 2 + 1 cheapest free on all delicious traditionally baked Let's Rusks, and save 20% on Primal Apple Cider Vinegar 120 capsules to boost your metabolism. Offers valid until 19 October at Dis-Chem, your healthy living destination. Better health starts here.
You are not dreaming. You are repeating. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Morning, Clement. 702 listeners and the team. It's pity that we don't have the laws of China where they do corruption with this Tembisa scandal. I think quite a bit of lives could have been saved. 2 billion rand. Surely 100,000 people could have been benefit from that money, and we would have been well off. Well, have a lovely weekend. Enjoy. May the Boks win.
Yeah, may they win indeed. Yeah, that's I was saying earlier that I just wish we had a bilateral agreement with China when we have got our politicians here that have been found guilty of corruption. Tabo, we just send them over to China because our constitution doesn't allow us to do what China is doing. We say, China, based on our bilateral agreement, take over there. They've been found guilty.
Issues.
You, do what you gotta do.
We don't know. We don't know. But listen, it's your country.
It's your country.
Decide.
It's your jurisdiction. You decide.
We won't interfere.
Yeah, because wow, it's crazy. How are you doing, Bratibus?
I'm free, man. How are you doing, Clem?
I'm all right, man. You walked in here and you said, does my cologne smell or not?
You made me feel so self-conscious.
Well, the good thing is I can't smell it from here.
Oh, good. I'm happy.
Yeah.
In your standards, I did well. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, but if you go back to where I grew up, they'll tell you that's not a real one because apparently we're supposed to smell it from 200 meters away as you come into the studio.
Yeah.
What are you looking at today?
A couple of things, Clem. Obviously, the open line and your favorite feature on the open line, Gratitude Friday. And but also we want to ask on a lighter note, people who take pictures and videos in public spaces. And Clement also then features in their video. And Clement told his partner that he's in China. And all of a sudden, Clement is here in Sandton. And you are seen in that video that was posted on social media, and there are unintended consequences. That should be outlawed. I mean, why do people take pictures in the public space? You know, they compromise other people. But that's on a lighter note. And also...
So I've seen that happen in church a lot.
Really?
Yep.
In church?
In fact, it happens a lot because everybody now goes to church to take videos and pictures.
Oh, man.
I mean, sure, maybe people are recording a sermon. I mean, do what you want to do, but it mustn't then interfere with me because I didn't sign up to be on your video. So sometimes when church is fun, people then are taking videos and not of themselves.
Yeah.
They're doing like a whole thing.
Exactly.
Like around
and your face is there now.
I was on a flight yesterday.
Yeah.
And this guy who's sitting behind me was also on a video call with his brother from what I could make up.
Yeah.
And he's busy showing the brother the people on the plane. He's like, Emanyana go bonze. Look.
You're like,
face. And I'm thinking, bro,
did we give you permission to do this?
Yes, and what are you doing?
Exactly.
Like your brother, why is your brother interested on who's on the plane with you? No. So, I think it should be outlawed. That's
we should speak about that, and we'll be touching on that. Also, very quickly, on the open line, we'll talk about Ngizwe Mchunu, very homophobic comments that he had made, and there's a petition to get him to appear before the Human Rights Commission, so we'll speak to an activist about that very quickly on the open line. And of course, on Across the Desk, we are hosting life coaches. What are life coaches? Are they motivational speakers? Are they psychologists, psychiatrists? What is it that they do? And for our relationship segment, we are discussing how to make long distance relationships work. Remember, some people are also in long distance marriages. How do they navigate that? All that between 9 and 12.
All right.
People are talking, everybody's talking, and they're saying it's time to make insurance great again. They said our low premiums were fake news. Wrong. We're putting customers first. We're gonna drain the insurance swamp. It's full of hidden fees. But when we clean it up, believe me, it's gonna be huge.
This message has absolutely nothing to do with the US government. It's paid for by the King of Insurance, who's making insurance great again. Get a quote now. It'll be the best decision people are saying ever. King Price is a licensed FSP. No fake news, just like her insurance.
Mzansi, Powerball is bringing the thrill with the jaw-dropping 110 million rand estimated jackpot this Friday. Don't delay. Play Powerball for an estimated 110 million rand jackpot today and step closer to a world of endless possibilities. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120*7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Let's rewind 6 years, when Twitter was still Twitter, not a letter of the alphabet. TikTok was simply the sound your clock made. And Zoom just meant enlarging a picture. So it makes you wonder, what will the next 6 years bring? Hino trucks now come standard with a 6-year drivetrain warranty, covering everything from pistons to gears. So although a lot can change in 6 years, our warranty promise won't. T's and C's apply. Hino, all the way.
Would you like to come to the 702 launch of Mandy Winner's new book? Well, the Midday Report host, Mandy Winner, has written a book about the negotiations that took place between political parties after last year's elections, which led to the formation of the Government of National Unity. Her new book is called The Deal. I've read the book. In fact, I have done a shout-out quote for the book, and I advise that you go check it out because it's just incredible. So what we'll be doing on my show next week, we'll be interviewing Mandy about her latest book on the 8th of October at 10 a.m. So if you'd like to be part of the studio audience and you want to come to 702 and watch me as I interview Mandy and maybe ask her a few questions about the information that she's managed to gather about what happened before the GNU was formed, you can just send us an email on contact@702.co.za. That's contact@702.co.za if you want to be part of the studio audience when we interview Mandy about her new book. It's happening next week, Wednesday at 10 a.m. 702. Let's walk the talk.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
So do you have anything planned for the weekend? Well, here's something exciting. Get ready to jazz up your life because Chicago the Musical, featuring a stellar all South African 23-member cast, 11-piece band, and world-class creative team will be performed in Monte Cassino's Teatro from the 3rd of October today to the 16th of November, extended by a week due to popular demand. The show, Chicago, promises to deliver toe-tapping jazz numbers like All That Jazz, the Cell Block Tango, and Razzle Dazzle, alongside sizzling choreography, a live orchestra, and a sophisticated set. This you don't want to miss. Darren Greef is the resident director and resident choreographer of Chicago the Musical, joining us on the line. Darren, thank you so much for making time. Good morning.
Morning, and thank you so much for having me.
So, having been part of the 2019 South African season of Chicago, what inspired you to return as director, and what sets this production apart from the previous runs?
This is a production that is so incredibly close to my heart. I was a performer in the production in 2019, and became part of the creative team, which, puts me on the other side of the table. It's kind of a full circle moment. And I think what sets it apart from any other production is, I think it's such a clever script. It's such a clever set. The choreography is really it's sexy, really. And just something so relevant still, to today's audiences. For young and old, it's a story of murder, greed, corruption, violence, everything we're experiencing in the world, but it makes it sexy and razzle-dazzle it all.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a musical that's recognized and loved worldwide. So how did you approach infusing this fresh, unique perspective? What did you have to balance there?
Correct. So, it's the exact same production you will see on Broadway, but we've done it with a more fresh approach. We've gone back to the human element of it. So the ensemble are not just, dancers and singers in the production. There's a human element. Everybody's telling a story within the production, and you can relate to anybody in the production. And I think that's what sets it apart from all the other ones at the moment.
Well, what about the casting choices? What guided that? I mean, I'm thinking of iconic roles of Roxy, of Velma, of Billy Flynn.
100%. So we had a casting call about a year ago. We did a full casting with the associate director from the international production on Broadway. We have Samantha Pierre reprising her role as Velma Kelly. And, as I say, the show's so personal and the roles are so personal. And 7 years on from the 2018 production, people as humans and as people have grown. So there's different elements that they now add to their characters, and it just gives way more depth. We have the phenomenal Jonathan Rocksmith as Billy Flynn. We have Karuna Lint-Devar as Roxy, who you would have seen as well as Sophie in our previous production of Mamma Mia. So we have an all-star cast. We have some returning cast members. We have Ferdinand Genant, that was in the original 2005 production that Showtime produced, as well as the 2008, 2019, and this one. Exactly the same as Samantha Pierce. Samantha played Roxy for 2005 and 2008. So, there's a long history there of people that really are involved in the show.
Yeah. And because you've already had the runnings before of the show, have there been any insights or adjustments made based on audience reactions, suppose in Cape Town, before the show moved to Johannesburg now?
Yeah, so, we've been hard at work. We closed the show in Cape Town on Sunday. We've been setting up and rehearsing this week for tonight's first production, first audience. I think, as I said earlier, we've really dug into the human element of the production this time round. And the audiences in Cape Town have really related and just said it's such a difference to the previous production in terms of the cast and how the show comes across.
And for the audiences that are coming, what do you want them to walk away with? If there's just one lasting impression or message from Chicago that you want them to walk away with, what is that?
I think more so than a message, I think the audience will walk out with a smile on their face. It's a great escape from what life is at the moment. Life is busy, life is crazy, life is tough sometimes. So it's a 2.5-hour escape from reality, looking into somebody else's reality and walking out, singing the tunes. There's a spring in your step. The audiences in Cape Town have been phenomenal. We had an incredibly successful season there. And all our audiences just walked out with a huge smile on their face. It was great to see every show, just seeing the audience reaction.
Yeah, well, listen, looking forward to checking that out. Darren Greef, resident director and resident choreographer of Chicago, the musical. Looking forward to checking it out. It's taking place from today, the 3rd of October. Of course, until the 16th of November. You can check it out on Saturday at 3 p.m. and 7:30, Sunday at 2 p.m. and then later on at 6 p.m. Tickets are available on Ticketmaster.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
Clemmy, goeiemorgen man. Floris here from the beautiful Western Cape. Clemmy, we South Africa keep on amplifying their voice with this whole Israel thing, but yet they still have a absolutely complete working consulate here. We need to start closing it down here. It's no use Cyril is asking for them to return the detainees, but yet we are still importing and exporting from them. We're worried about what other countries are doing. Have a good day, bye-bye.
Hi, Clement, Kathy from Boksburg. My question about Israel are, where are the sanctions? When South Africa was behaving in an apartheid manner, the entire world sanctioned us. Why is no one sanctioning Israel?
Morning, Clement and team. As long as Israel has the backing of America, they are untouchable. Very sad, but that's the reality. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, hey, yeah, it really is. It really is the reality. We've also been asking you about colognes and whether or not you wear cologne. And Amu, someone was saying that earlier on that the reason they don't put a lot of cologne, it's not so much that, they're scared people will smell it. It's that cologne is expensive. So you don't want to spend your signature expensive cologne and you've got like 10 sprays. Like you need to make sure it lasts you at least 2 years.
But people who buy colognes like that, then they'll have a collection of like 5 or 6, so that they don't feel like they waste. But expensive colognes, what I've seen is even if you've put like 2 you can still smell it from a distance sometimes.
Really? Maybe fake. Maybe fake. All right, this is where we come to the end of 702 Breakfast. This is how we wrap up the show. Thank you for listening to the show over the last 3 hours. Bongani will be back with you on Monday. So please have a beautiful Friday. Have a beautiful weekend. We'll chat to you again on Monday. Cheers.
Hi, Clement and team. My son, who's really big on perfumes, tell me all the time. He says, Mom, if you're going to spray once or twice, then your perfume will watch you leave the house. Then you've just wasted a good perfume. So I find it interesting that people say you waste your perfume when you squirt too many, when you spray too many times, because my son says just the opposite. And yes, Clement, after that sale at Kyalami last week, I'm sure everybody's smelling good, and we've already purchased our Christmas gifts. Thanks, Clement. Natasha.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Trade Union Nahawu will march to the Gauteng Health Department today to call for the improvements of the province's healthcare system. The union says it will be handing over a memorandum of demands to MEC Nomantunko Moraloku, calling for her to urgently intervene. The union says it will be handing over